highlight of Friday nights. Hope everybody is coming off a fantastic day, coming off work, school, whatever the case may be. I am your host, Sports PSP. Alongside me is my fantastic panel. To my gentleman on the right, he is one half of the Georgia Bulldogs. He is Mr. Atlanta. He is a girl dad. He is a baseball extraordinaire. People, baseball season is approaching. MLB season is approaching. Please go talk to him when it comes to advice regarding baseball and a lot of other things. The one and only BRF Sports. How you doing, brother?
Man, life is good though. But I gotta say, man, this week work wise, man, this was like one of the crankiest work weeks I've seen at that place in a long time. It's like everybody that had an attitude this week. I ain't know what was going on, but I mean, it was still good. Can't complain. My shout out to my little girl. She'll be 11. She'll be 11 next month. She's doing really good, right? She's doing really good right now. She's been improving school wise. I got to tap in every so often, seeing how she's doing. She's doing good. Family's doing good, man. Health is. I can honestly say I can't complain. Life is good. Trying to pump out some content, trying to get back rolling, especially with MLB coming around. I definitely know once opening day hits, I'm gonna try to really start pumping it out baseball wise this year. But you know what? Hey, outside of that, man, life is good, man. How y'all fellas doing?
Good, man. Good.
We doing
Outside.
good. We doing good. And of course, we cannot do the Sports PSP podcast without my main man on the bottom. He is one half of the Georgia Bulldogs alumni. He is the five-time college degree champion. He's the military man and veteran. He is the Al Roker of journalism, the young Charles Barkley, the young Mark Henry. He's D's hysterical, hilarious friend. Shout out to the beautiful D. He is Mama Champ's number one favorite son. He is Ace's number one sibling. And of course, there's a poster on the far right corner of the video. I hooked him up with that. Took care of the big fella. I'm glad I got him a poster. I promised I would get him something, which I did. And of course, man, he is hysterical, funny, brilliant, knowledgeable, the whole nine. And definitely happy that the WNBA players are getting their money. The one and
Yeah.
only, the big fella, undisputed world champ. How you doing, big fella?
I'm good, man. Thank you for the alley oop, man. Right up in the coffin corner. Yes, indeed. Shout out to Sports PSP, man. By the way, man, doing great things, man. Almost to 160K doing his thing. Hey, somebody, y'all sponsors out there, sign my boy, man. Sign him. Put some money in that pocket. Line them pockets. Pay him for his knowledge, my peeps. Come on now. Bring out the sponsorships. Bring out the free food, the free clothes, everything. Come on now. But good to be here, man. I'm mad that damn gas cost damn near $4 and I just bought that new truck. But
Oh,
I'm mad at hell about that.
Considering the current gas prices nowadays,
It took me 80 damn dollars to fill up my truck last night. I was mad as hell. I went from $55 in less than 2 weeks to fill it up to $80.
shit.
That is madness. Come on, man. But look, Governor Kemp just signed this bill to get rid of the gas taxes on there, so that should take it down. So thanks to Governor Kemp. But yeah, it's been rough as far as gas was concerned. And it seemed like the gas then got a little bit the quality and it got cheap because I was driving yesterday, man, and my gas went from like I filled it up to like 400, so like 400 miles. I'm riding around a little bit, and I got back home. It was down to 350. I said, "Ain't no way I just drove 50 damn miles in that damn city. The city ain't but so damn big." But outside of that, man, it's good to be back on the Sports PSP podcast. The highlight of Friday nights, man. I call it the highlight of Friday night for a reason.
Well, we always gonna put on a great show like we normally do. Of course, I want to give a quick shout out to the beautiful, wonderful D. Love you, sister. Hopefully, to get to see you soon. Shout out to Ace. Thank you, Ace, for giving me the address so I can get Undisputed World Champ that poster. Don't worry, big fella. There's some more posters along the way. Trust me, you'll be surprised with some good posters that I'm gonna come up with. But always love taking care of the big fella, man.
I appreciate that, man. Just don't send
But
me a bomb in my mailbox. We get cool.
people,
I'm just playing.
listen. If I want to do dirty, I could send you a Saints poster. I don't want to do that. To you.
That see, now you're going too far. You can just send me the bomb. I'll be all right with that. But but man,
Well,
it's
I mean,
good.
you could do the same thing like with BRF, and BRF told me if he had a Saints or a Cowboys jersey, immediately he'd burn it.
Yeah, shoot, up in flames. But man, I'm to your point. I'm glad the WNBA got his money, especially with me
It's been
paying attention to
time.
women's basketball like I'm doing. Right now, LSU, the women's basketball team, is beating the paint off of Jacksonville 94-48. So they are beating them like they stole some. So yeah, especially with a lot of these superstars
Matter of
coming
fact,
in.
let's get to it, champ. Let's get to it. Let's talk about the WNBA. Finally, we ain't got to worry about whether there's going to be a basketball season or not. Finally, these women are getting their money. Also, appreciate and shout out to you, champ, because I wanted to make sure I got the actual factual information regarding the new CBA. Hey, people, if you need research and help, Undisputed World Champ is that type of person for research. The new CBA, an average salary in range of 600,000, the minimum above 300,000, the average revenue share of nearly 20% across the deal, the new salary cap starting at $7 million, which is up from $1.5 million, and the supermax starting at $1.4 million. And to your point, big fella, Asia Wilson is the first one to be the millionaire. And I ain't got no problem with it because of her merit, her work. You can make an argument, a case. Asia Wilson is the GOAT of women's basketball.
Yeah.
So I ain't got no problem with it. My thing is, it should have been a long time that these women got their money. But I'm glad that they're going to get their money. I'm glad that they're going to be richfully deserving because they don't have to worry about going overseas, playing elsewhere, making their type of money. Nah, that's no longer the case anymore. I'm happy for that. And I'm also happy for the future generations for women's basketball. And shout out to Nafisa Collier as well. Because
Yeah.
remember, champ, we talked about this. Remember how she exposed the WNBA commissioner, Kathy Engelbert?
Yeah.
And
I remember that.
Nafisa Collier, she had receipts. And given her position, her status in the WNBA and with the WNBA PA, she ain't lying.
Nope.
So I'm happy that the women are finally getting their money. It's been time. It should have been a long time. And I'm also happy for the WNBA season because it starts May 8th, I think May 8th, May 10th.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of great things to look forward to. The Aces, are they going to repeat? Caitlin Clark coming back from injury. We'll see how she'll be. Angel Reese developing her game. Paige Bueckers. There's a lot of great narrative stories to build upon for the WNBA season. Hopefully they don't build it by controversies. But I'm glad, champ, the CBA is done. We can focus on basketball. The players can finally get their money. It should have been a long time. But what are your thoughts, big fella?
I think one thing that I forgot to send you, and that's my fault because I got it so late. I was still doing research while I was at my desk at work. I think one of the most important thing is league housing. All players that are making less than $500,000 a year in 2026, 2027, all those players will be receiving provided housing every single year.
Oh,
And
for
they will
real?
be, yes, and they will have
Nice.
league wide air travel every single year. Not to
That's what's
mention
up.
they will have first class accommodation for across the league events, new facility standards requiring teams to have enhanced training and treatment resources, expanded team staffing requirements, including additional physicians and athletic trainers and strength and conditional coaches, massage therapists, and nutritionists, and significant team contribution to players' 401k. Here's the good part: extended insurance benefits totaling more than $700,000 per year per player.
Wow.
A one-time recognition payment for WNBA veterans and retired players based on years of service. So if you have 12 plus years of service for retirees, you will get $100,000. If you get 8 to 11 years of service, it will be $50,000. 5 to 7 years of service, $30,000. And an extended family planning benefits for players and their spouses. So that's where it extended. And those salaries, by the way, that you just mentioned, they will be expected to go up to 2.4 million by the year 2032. So,
Very impressive.
Very impressive.
so with that being said, they got what they wanted and they got what they needed. I'm so happy to see these ladies get paid. Asia Wilson, rightfully so, the highest paid player right now in the WNBA. Look, she's probably not going to be the highest paid very, very long because you have over 100 free agents in the WNBA. Over 100. So there's going to be a lot of movement going on, especially with the expansion draft going on as well during the 1st of April. Got a lot of stuff going on with the WNBA. So with that being said, look, I'm glad that they got paid. And look, for those of you who are going to sit here and say, well, Caitlin Clark saved the WNBA, I like to push back on that just a little bit. Because if that was the case, they would have had the revenue share in her first year.
Mm-hmm.
They had it in the second year in the WNBA. And guess what? She only played 8 games. Not to mention her team looked deadly without her. Kelsey Mitchell became the overall catalyst of that team. So for those of you who are going to sit over there and take the easy way out and say she saved the league, yes, she had a big effect on the league. But if the revenue share would have came out that year, the first year that she came out of college, I would have agreed with you. But it happened the second year, she only played 8 games. The attendance was up at Las Vegas and the Valkyrie as well. The Valkyrie and the Aces sold out every single game. So it wasn't just the Fever. The Atlanta Dream sold out season tickets every single year for the last 3 years. And to put the cherry on top of that, the first year Caitlin Clark was in the league, the W still lost $40 million that year. For the first time in history, they generated revenue with her playing only 8 games. So let's give these other women a lot of credit for carrying the banner when they can no longer depend on one star, because that's what it's all about. That is why the NBA is suffering right about now, because they're star at this point. They don't have that legitimate face of the NBA at this point outside of, I would say, LeBron. In the W, they have many faces. That's where they're getting it right. And I will say this, the WNBA has never needed a face because the talent was so damn deep. If you really look at the Las Vegas Aces, especially before this year, they were a damn super team. You had Asia Wilson, and you can pretty much stop there. But they had Kelsey Plum, Kelsey Gray, just to name a few. And they had the superstar head coach. So, to be honest with you, they didn't necessarily need a face. They needed marketing. They needed a lot of machinery behind them in order to push them. Look what happened in Unrivaled the past 2 years. They didn't have Caitlin Clark. And their revenue tripled in less than 2 years. So we got to start giving credit where credit is due. I applaud Caitlin Clark for the faces that she brought, the eyeballs that she brought to the W. But to say that she was the sole reason why the W is where it is now, that's disingenuous. But I will say this. It's going to be interesting to see when her contract comes up, how much money she gets. I know there's a salary cap, but hey, you generated that much, you might get your $2 million right now. Because her contract is up in 2 years. So,
unfortunately, champ, the reason why people are going to lean on Caitlin Clark being the face of the WNBA, to your point, as you mentioned, with Unrivaled, as well as a lot of other things, because again, before it seemed like people weren't paying as much attention to women's basketball. Casuals, not us in particular, talking about casuals, because of Caitlin Clark. So I kind of understand why they would probably lean on Caitlin Clark saying that she's the face of the WNBA. I think there are other reasons for it as well. Remember last year, champ, you and I, we had conversations. Had it not been for injury, Nafisha Collier probably would have won league MVP. Had it not been for the injury. We've also had discussions about Angel Reese. And I thought at times Angel Reese got too much criticism, and wrongfully so. But I felt like, you know what, there were other reasons. We talked about the WNBA. We talked about Paige Bueckers. I just think it's easy to look at Caitlin Clark, champ, because they looked at what she was coming out of Ohio. They also look at the fact having their own sneaker deal. They acted at the end, plus the game, the relatability. When they look at Caitlin Clark's game, the first thing that comes to their mind to them is like Steph Curry in terms of her ability to handle the ball and shoot. Do I think it's fair to say Caitlin Clark was the reason? No, I don't think it's fair. But she does play a big role for it. She's not the reason. Of course, you have to think other things as well, too. How, to your point, how the Indiana Fever were without her. Yeah. To your point, you mentioned with Kelsey Mitchell. Plus, the league, obviously, you cannot argue with Caitlin Clark. They're a lot better. And you just mentioned the fact about her money, which she will get evidently. And sooner or later, what I also love about it, the future players, the Azzy Fudds, the Juju Watkins. Who's the Iowa State player?
Audie Crooks.
Brooks. I like a lot too. Audie Crooks. I like a lot too. So I think it's great. I think there are other reasons, to your point, which led to the WNBA CBA. But I can also understand why some people may look at Caitlin Clark, because before, and being around guys, people didn't start talking about the WNBA, casuals I'm referring to, because of Caitlin Clark. Now, if it were people like us, yeah, we would talk about the WNBA for other reasons besides Caitlin Clark.
Yeah. I always say this, man. It's not going to lean on one person. And you got to give Angel Reese a lot of credit, too, because she bought a lot of eyeballs herself. There's a reason why she has the most followers on. There's a reason why
I think she's like, what, over 5 million?
Over 5 million. She has the most followers of any WNBA player. She had a Reebok contract coming out of college. She sold out of her shoes. She sold out of her shoes within an hour, every single colorway.
Not to mention the Reese's Pieces, the McDonald's commercial. She was on the runway, I think, for Victoria's Secret. Yeah. So she was doing a lot of things. And plus she has her own podcast, just like us, the Unapologetic podcast. Yeah. And she's had guests on her show, Mariah the Scientist, Lotto, Shaq, a lot of other people. So Angel Reese, like I said, Angel Reese outside of basketball, she's going to be fine because she's intelligent, beautiful. You know, she can handle her business as well as play her game. So that's what I also think as well. But BRF, what are your thoughts?
I was really happy when I heard that the CBA was agreed to, and then Champ, as he, hey, if y'all ain't following Champ for anything, follow him for his WNBA knowledge, because this man, I mean, I watch it, I enjoy talking about it, but a lot of the stuff that I learned and that I've kind of picked up, I got it from Champ because he follows it and he's that astute as far as understanding the game and understanding the ins and outs. So shout out to that brother for what he does for the WNBA. The biggest thing that I took from it is the revenue sharing, because we had talked about this before on our show on UGSP. Shout out to the homie Flash. Um, we were thinking maybe 15, 16 in that 15 to 18% range as far as revenue sharing to start off. They're getting 20 out the gate. I wasn't expecting them to get 20 out the gate. I was ecstatic when he said, 20% revenue sharing out the gate. Because that's
Nearly 20%.
Yes, that's a really big piece of the pie that they're getting out of the jump. Now you know for certain that right now to start, the players aren't going to get cheated out of money. 20% is a really good percentage to earn right off the bat. And so now you're looking at now not only are you looking at that as far as like the the high level, the A tier players, the BT players, but then you look at like your bench players and just like like the ones that are going to come out of the gate, in that 300 to 310K range, that's going to start out the jump making the minimum wages. At the end of the day, that is still money in their pocket, and that's a lot more that they've been receiving over the years. So just shout out to the players union, shout out to the league themselves, shout out for them to be able to find the middle ground and be able to get a deal done and be able to have a WNBA season uninterrupted, just flow through, and because like they are continually, slowly building this momentum. Unrivaled is helping with the drawing, the arenas, the draws, just how box office Unrivaled has become. Just as them, the players honing their craft and working, to get ready for what's arguably the biggest season in the history of the league. Now that that the CBA has agreed to, and you can get to some basketball, this could be the biggest season in history because this really jumpstart the upswing, as not only like attendance being higher than ever, but now after after the women's NC2A tournament ends, now you're about to get another influx of talent coming into the league at the WNBA draft that's going to get started with these girls in May. And it's just going to be even more exciting to see the AZ Fuzz and the Audie Crooks and the players like that are going to come into the league and just kind of add their flair to the league in order to continue to build this momentum. I'm happy for them because they honest to God deserve this, especially just seeing. Well, Champ said it really well too. Like from a fundamental standpoint, you can make a case to WNBA kind of they're better than the men's league, than the NBA right now, as far as the fundamentals and just stressing the importance of just understanding the little things and just being able to go out and execute
The nuances.
Then the nuances. It's so important to understand that you can't get to the flashiness, you can't get to the highlight reels, you can't get to the show-stopping plays if you don't just understand the little nuances and the in and outs of just being able to execute basketball IQ, just all of that. You got to understand the little things before you can even expand and get better at your craft and get better at the game. So shout out to them for being able to get the deal done. I was excited to hear for it. I jumped out. I ain't gonna lie. I screamed a little bit because like I was at the house chilling. And then I saw the news brief break, and I screamed. I let it out a little bit. I was excited for them because they deserve this piece of the pie. Now they can build on this. They have nothing else to worry about. They have no burdens. They have no stress. Now they can get out there and focus on what's important, and that's playing this game and expanding this league even more. And now we can get to some ball. I'm excited for these girls, and I'm ready to see them go, man. That's a big moment for them. This could be the biggest year in the history of this league.
Go ahead, Champ.
I have a quick question for both of y'all. Like with everybody getting paid now, everybody's gonna get their money.
Mm-hmm.
So we got 100 free agents. Everybody's about to get paid. Do y'all think that this is gonna have the effect of the talent pool that's not only gonna be overseas, but that's gonna be coming to Unrivaled next year? Do you think there's gonna be impact players that are willing to play in Unrivaled next off season? Because now I done got paid. I don't have to play both sides. I don't have to go play overseas in the off season. Unrivaled was fairly
I think that's only for people if you're a proven commodity, if you're somebody who still has to improve. I would kind of look at it like Unrivaled, like the Summer League.
okay.
Like if you still feel like you need to improve, or Summer League, G League, if you still feel like you need to improve your game, you still have a lot to show. I would go to Unrivaled. But if you're someone that's like an Asia Wilson or a Nafisha Collier, a Caitlin Clark, a Kelsey Mitchell, or somebody like that, no, I don't think you have to go. You should use it as an alternative if you need to work on your game or for financial reasons.
I think I can piggyback on this a little bit. I think, yeah, like definitely Unrivaled can be used as like a summer league as far as like, honing your craft, getting better. Also, honestly, you can use it as a rehab. Like if you like, if you're coming off an injury, you're getting yourself right, use Unrivaled, to play kind of
Exactly.
start off slow, and then as as the unrivaled season progresses, ramp up in order to get yourself healthy. These players can use it as a rehab. I think one thing I look at though, as far as the aspect, as far as how unrivaled can still affect the league, I think it boils down to the lesser players, as far as the contracts the lesser players are getting, because of the lesser players are making decent money. Like if that trickle down effect to the lesser players, the veteran players who are making less, if that trickle down effect is an actual trickle down effect that works. That's a conversation for another day. A trickle down effect that actually works, to where everybody's benefiting as far as like contract wise. That could be another reason as you might not see as many players go and play unrivaled when they know, hey, you know what, I don't necessarily have to make that leap to unrivaled when I know I'm getting a decent enough paycheck to where I can make a good living off of this WNBA money. I don't necessarily have to double dip and play an unrivaled. But honestly though, I still see unrivaled being I still see it making an impact, because honestly, there are going to be those players, those stars. I feel like the women, I'm not saying the men are in it for the love of the game, because the men do love to play, but I feel like the women are truly, truly in it because they enjoy what they do. And I really feel like I still feel like you're gonna see your fair share of elite players and superstars that are still gonna use Unrivaled to work on the crowd, but also kind of benefit that league and kind of uplift it a little bit. Because I feel like the women should be in it to raise everything up, whether it's the WNBA, whether it's Unrivaled, raise it to a point where it could ultimately be like a summer league, a G League type of thing, to where like rookies coming in can go to Unrivaled, develop their craft, and ultimately take it to the
Especially for the players who are hungry, and especially for
exactly
the players who are undrafted
exactly.
and who are trying to make a spot for the WNBA team. So I think this can make it very intriguing, champ. It can make it interesting, and plus it'll help even Unrivaled to step up their game now that the WNBA players are getting paid. And thank you for this note you sent me, champ. Also in 2027, we'll have 50 games from 44 and up to 52 in 2029.
I like that.
Now the problem is with the games. How are you going to handle it in August and September and October? Because of course you got football season,
Yeah.
and you got to deal with college football. You got to deal with the NFL, and then of course you got to deal with baseball.
Yeah.
So that's a thing that you're gonna have to handle. You're gonna have to come up with schedules, like types of days for the WNBA playoffs. Because if you're gonna try to do a WNBA playoff game, like on a Thursday,
Yeah.
I don't care. If you're doing it on a Thursday night during football season, when you know Thursday night football, and then if you try doing it on a Sunday or a Saturday during football season, which Saturday you got college, Sunday you got the NFL, and even on a Monday you got Monday night football, because we all know the narratives. And you got the baseball season, the postseason. The Dodgers back to back. Can they three-peat? There's a lot of other great narratives too. So WNBA, they're gonna have to figure out what days are they gonna have to decide for the WNBA playoffs and stuff. To that,
Right.
y'all say what?
Well, the thing is, I was about to piggyback all that. They had a doubleheader on ESPN during football season. I think they had the Aces versus the Indiana Fever last year during football season, and they had another game with Angel Reese and let me see, there was another game on. Oh yeah, the Los Angeles Sparks. The Sparks and the and the Chicago Sky game, they had over I think it was 750,000 viewers. But the Asia versus Caitlin game, although Caitlin didn't play, but Caitlin is the face of the Indiana, that had 1.5, they had 1.5 million viewers. So they can get their ratings if people, if your product is good enough, you're going to get your ratings. Because not everybody look. I found out one thing last year when I was watching the W on during football season. Now I have like TVs everywhere in my house. I watch stuff from my computer. I watch stuff from my tablet, my phone. I got like 3 screens on my computer. I watch sports from everywhere. That's all I watch is sports. But you'll find out
Well,
real
don't carry the
quick.
tablet like that. We don't want you to damage that tablet right there. That's too much money. We don't want you to do that.
Yeah. I was given this, but my father gave me this too, by the way. But yeah, you really find out real quick if you're interested in sports and the product is good, people are gonna watch it. But I don't think they'll have a problem. You're not going to get the ratings that you're going to get as far as over, 20 million or what have you yet. But for you to get 1.5 million during football season in a prime game, that's something to behold. But they're going to get their ratings. The thing is scheduling. I will say that because
That's my
you don't
concern,
want
Cheb.
them
Like I
to
said,
start because I don't want. Here's what I don't want. I don't need these players to get paid to start this load management bullshit. I really don't need you to start doing that. So if you're going to start scheduling, make sure the schedule is like it was when when you wasn't getting paid. And you're scheduling enough rest for these players in between. You don't need them playing back to back every other night. Because remember Satu Sabali, she was very, very adamant about them playing because I'll never forget. Remember when the Phoenix Mercury, I think it was like 7 days, they played like 5 times in 7 days.
5 times, something like that.
Yeah, they got mad as a hippo with a hernia. So I'd never forget that. And Satu Sabali just came out there. Yeah, they played like 5 times in 7 days. Meanwhile, the Aces, they went 2 weeks and didn't play one game before they went on that big run. So yeah, you got to be careful about the scheduling of it and making sure these players aren't playing back to back to back, and these teams aren't playing 8 times in less than 7 days, because that will wear down on the players. And then guess what? Then you got to start managing. Then you have to start this load management business. Another thing I don't think that everybody's talking about is this: the expansion draft is coming.
Mm-hmm.
The expansion draft is coming. Portland and Toronto. And Coach Sandy, who's coming off of a early exit in the playoff, who won the New York Liberty first championship just less than 2 years ago with Breanna Stewart, Natasha Cloud, Jonquel Jones, just to name a few. She's going to be the coach of that new expansion team. Each team, much like the NBA, can only protect 8 players. It's going to be interesting to see who ends up on those teams with the Portland Fire and the Toronto Tempo, especially with Coach Sandy coaching them now. And you got to ask yourself this: with that championship team, with all that talent up there in New York, now that Coach Sandy is gone, how many people are going to leave there in free agency? Can the Chicago? There's a lot of narratives. Who can the Chicago Sky get in order to pair with Angel Reese?
Which team is Sandy coaching?
The Toronto Tempo. They gave her the job for the expansion team.
Okay.
So yeah,
because I didn't know if it was Toronto or Portland. Because if it was that Portland squad, if it was that Portland squad, where did Sabrina Ionescu go to school?
Oregon.
Exactly. That's a watch out for. I don't think she'll get protected because I don't think New York's gonna let her go. But I'm just
No,
hey,
after
another
what she
narrative.
accomplished by winning
That's
the
another narrative.
championship, so nah.
Nah. But I'm just saying that would have been a that
Oh, that
probably
would have been a
would have been
great
a that she
narrative,
would
though.
leave.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would be a great narrative.
And she played the entire. I didn't find this out because you remember in that game 7, she was kind of cold. You know what I'm saying? I never forget in that game 7, right? Come to find out, she had a fractured wrist. That's the reason why she didn't shoot that well. She had a fractured wrist in her shooting hand. She just wanted to play. So it's going to be interesting to see how this goes, man. I mean, Tasha Cloud, a lot of those members of those great teams up there in New York, they're free agents. Outside of Asia Wilson, half of them are free agents. And I don't know if they're going to be able to keep Kelsey Gray because she just won 3 championships in less than a year. Remember, she won in Unrivaled last year, then won in Las Vegas this year, then won again in Unrivaled this year. And like I said, another big narrative is who they're going to get to go with Angel Reese at the Chicago Sky, because her, Paige Becker, and Caitlin Clark, they led the Olympic team in efficiency.
But at the same time, champ, you talked about the Chicago Sky. That team was kind of falling apart, particularly with the roster. And there was some frustrations last year with Angel Reese and the team. So it's interesting to see how that's going to work out, whether if Angel Reese is going to remain with the Chicago Sky. I think she should remain on the team because of what she does on the defensive impact and her ability. But yeah, she was great, especially for the Olympics. Her, Paige Beckers, Caitlin Clark. But a lot of great things to look forward to. But big fella, I'm sorry. I gotta talk about your North Carolina Tar Heels. What were your thoughts of them losing to VCU on March Madness?
Coach, you are on borrowed time, my friend.
Hubert Davis.
2 first-round exits. Come on, man. And then blew the largest lead in school history in the first round.
Yeah, the 19-point lead.
You had them. It's a lack of fundamentals. It's a lack of not using your rotational players as good as you could. But there's got to be some adjustments that Coach Hubert has to make, man. The team will look so good at times, and at other times it's just like look stagnant. And I don't understand that. That's not a North Carolina team. That's not the teams that Dean Smith, Roy Williams put together. And remember, North Carolina just made the Final Four and the Natty championship game just a couple years ago. So for you to go from
you had a big lead. Remember when Hubert Davis was there the first year for North Carolina? Y'all had a huge lead in that national championship, but for whatever reason,
yeah, we turned into the Falcons. So basically, I'm just being real. So they both my teams, man. I could talk about my own team.
I know, but you had to use them as the first example. I mean, oh my Lord.
I mean, I could have said the Browns, but it would have went back to the Falcons. But Falcons are my team. I love the Falcons, but I mean, giving up 2 huge leads like that, you got to ask yourself, hey man, is he going to be here very long? Because I mean, 2 back-to-back first-round exit in the first round. In the first round, yeah, there's going to be some changes made, man, because you got to make some changes or some changes will be made. And look, let's just be real, man. These days, even in coaching, winning a championship is not enough. Winning a championship is not enough. We've seen coaches win championship and get ousted just a year after. The honeymoon don't last long for championships, especially in basketball. Coach Sandy, remember, she won the first championship for the New York Liberty in their entire history. Remember all of those close calls that they had with Teaspoon and all of those other players. She finally was able to deliver a championship. Less than a year later, she was gone. Remember what happened to Mike Malone out there in Denver? He was gone. Frank Vogel, he got ousted up out of there. So championships appearances don't mean much right about now. So you got to come up with a way to better prepare your team, because you got the talent. You just got to do the preparation. Hey, and it got worse, man. Georgia lost by damn near 30. So
Against St. Louis.
yeah, against St. Louis. Remember they was calling the guy Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. They was calling the guy Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I mean, the dude
But
looked like, yeah, and the dude
I was
looked like an
more
offensive
hyped.
lineman. To be honest with you, he looked like an offensive lineman playing basketball. Just gonna be real, but that dude, man, just being real, he could hoop. But man, that's why they call it March Madness, man, because so many crazy things can happen. I will say this though. I will say this. You know what I'm about to say? Shout out the two schools, Howard University
Yes.
and Prairie View,
Prairie View.
A&M,
Mhm.
HBCUs. Everybody was saying that they were going to have a first round exit. Got in there and showed out. Got in there and showed out. And we have two women's teams in the big dance as well. Coach Staley actually sent a team some Louis Vuitton to the locker room.
That was it was Southern University, wasn't it?
Yes, it was one of the most historically black colleges in the history of HBCUs. Marshall Falk is coaching there this year, their football team. So shout out to all of the HBCUs that made the big dance. And I'm hoping that they make it very far. At least make it, I'm hoping that they at least make it to the Sweet 16. Because guess what? That not only brings eyeballs to the HBCU, but I'll need some of that NIL money to trickle on down to these HBCUs. Because I believe wholeheartedly, guess what? Look, Fort Valley right down the street from me, an hour and a half away. Can you imagine the big players that they could get if some of these HBCUs had NIL money, like some of the big universities? All right, look, Arthur Blank, he just made big contributions to
HBCUs.
to HBCUs. And, you know, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, she made over $100 million worth of contribution to the HBCUs. Hey, Tennessee State, Oprah's alma mater, they're in the big dance. So shout out to the HBCUs, man, especially the ones who won. Good job on making it to the big dance. I hope you go very, very far. And I'm hoping that the eyeballs that you bring to this screen brings about a lot of recruits so they can bring about a lot of NIL money and some sponsorships so we can get some of these big time players so we can compete with these recruiting wars. Because you'll be surprised. Like I said, 10% of the Basketball Hall of Fame, HBCUs. 10% of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, HBCUs, including the greatest player of all time, Jerry Rice, and Walter Payton, HBCUs. So I'm glad to see these HBCUs in the big dance doing March Madness where you're watching every single game. Vegas is busy right now, and they're going out there and kicking some serious butt out there, man. So shout out to the HBCUs.
For me, man, it was the Kentucky game. The Kentucky versus St. Clair game. And late in the possession of the game, man, that shot by Tega Alwu, the half court shot, that was incredible. And I was watching the Arkansas game. I love Darius Cuff, man. Dude knows how to put the ball in the bucket. He's definitely a top 5 pick in the NBA draft. In my opinion, he already has like an NBA body, 6'3", 190, can shoot, score from a multitude of ways, can attack the basket. It's interesting to see with John Calipari. Duke, you nearly blew it. That's a concern. Now, I will give you credit for the second half for turning it around, but I'm not really that high on you winning the national championship to win it all. But shout out to your point, champ, about Howard. It was great to see an HBCU actually win. It was great. Of course, as you mentioned, man, the extraordinaire, the historian as you are, it's always great to see HBCUs get that type of love, and hopefully they'll try to get the recruits, man. But I was ecstatic with that game, and then of course, AJ Dibaranasta, 35 and 10. He was magnificent in the game against Texas. So I was happy to see, man. But that's what I took from the tournament. Really exciting NBA draft to look forward to. I mean, with Diaby Nasta, Darian Peterson, the cuff, Boozer. So it's a lot to look forward to with the NBA draft. But what are your thoughts, BRF?
Um, it's kind of a point that I've harked on as far as the NCAA tournament, as far as like what wins in March. Because I mean, it's an age old adage that continues to hark true. Guard play wins in March. And not only that, what you're also seeing is these teams, as far as like efficiency and also being able to make the three and guard against the three. I feel like those are like three of the biggest things you take away in terms of this first round of the NCAA tournament, because the teams that are winning these games are locking it down late in terms of in terms of like their defensive prowess. Like the reason why I still feel Duke does still have a shot to win the national championship this year. Like teams like Duke, teams like Arizona, teams like that are really good on both sides on both ends of the floor, putting the ball in the basket, being able to stop the other team from putting the ball in the basket. I feel like another big takeaway is High Point being Kentucky. That was a that was nice. That's one of those upsets you kind of take with you right there. Like, because I saw a clip of the High Point the college commentary team calling that last sequence of plays, and that's what it's about. It's about the love of the game. It's about the love of it. It's about that loyalty to your university, just the passion that he had calling the last sequence of plays and being up close to seeing High Point pull off that 12-5 upset like that. I feel like that's a matchup you see almost every year, at least one time, at least 112. It's either 112 gets a 5, a 13 gets a 4, a 12 gets a 5, or an 11 gets a 6. I feel like those are the three matchups where you see the upsets, at least one of each every year. And like I said, it just comes down to efficiency. It comes down to those three things for me: is guard play, efficiency, and defense. If your guards are able to attack the rim and be able to set, kind of carry that gravity with the rest of your team, that way everybody's getting shots, but it's being set up by your guards, just by having the IQ to run your offense, be able to set everything up correctly, but then it kind of rolls into the efficiency, being able to make those shots, and then getting them rebounding as well, and getting back on the other end of the floor, being able to lock the other team down. So I just feel like those things are just so vital as far as winning in March. And like I said, I love the High Point Kentucky game. I love seeing that result, and I think honestly, the game I just watched, the Utah State Villanova game. I was just watching that. Seeing Collins from Utah State take that game over late in the second half. That's what I mean when I talk about guard play wins in March. It's just having
Also,
knowing when to
shout out
attack and make a
to
play.
the shooter. Also, shout out to the shooter, Chaz Johnston. Remember Chaz Johnston? Remember how he was lighting up them threes?
Yeah.
Shout out to him as well, man. But to your point, I mean, it's so exciting with the guard play, man. And with the threes, I want to see Michigan win. That's just because of me, because, again, I would love to see Michigan win the national championship. But Calipari, it's going to be interesting to see. I mean, he may have a chance. But Duke, I am kind of concerned after what happened with the first game. So they're going to have to make some type of adjustments or whatever.
I have a quick stat real quick before we move on to the next segment. And I was doing a little bit of research on this as well. And this is a very interesting stat, but you know what? I think it kind of backs up everything that's been going on with the NCAA tournament as far as what we've been talking about. 23 of the last 24 NCAA champions in men's basketball are in the top 21 teams in the country, offensive and defensive efficiency. So, like, watch out for the Dukes, the Arizonas, the teams like that who are good on both ends of the floor as far as getting far in the tournament and winning it all. They're good on both sides of the court.
Fellas, we gotta talk about this whole Kenyon Martin thing. Kenyon Martin, for those who may not know, he was on Gilbert Arenas' podcast, and he brought in the producer of the show. His name is Suge. And Kenyon Martin confronted Suge, and to which he showed him a video of Suge mocking Kenyon Martin's speech impediment. Gilbert Arenas, he spoke about it after. He talked about how this happened prior. This happened like a year or 2 or 3 years ago. This didn't happen recently. Matter of fact, correct me if I'm wrong, Champ. Suge, the producer, he tried to apologize to Kenyon Martin, but Kenyon Martin brushed him off.
Yeah, he didn't. He did, apparently, from what I saw from it, he was trying to apologize and show him what was going on, but Kenyon kind of blew him off because he didn't really think that of it because he knew the guy. Like, you know what? It couldn't be that big of a deal. All right, don't worry about it, you know. But
once he saw the video, to which it really hit him regarding his speech impediment. For those who may not know, Kenyon Martin has had a speech impediment. And I saw the situation to what Kenyon Martin did. I also saw Gilbert Arenas' response. Now, Kenyon Martin, regardless, whether if it was a year or 2 or 3 ago, he did a video, and basically what he said was, it doesn't matter whether if it was an old or a latest video. I felt betrayed because I've had you in my house. I've invited you over to my home to see my wife, to see my kids. I put money in your pocket. I invited you over to my house for Thanksgiving, back-to-back years. I can't tell Kenyon Martin how he's supposed to handle that situation. Some people would have probably handled it the same way like Kenyon Martin. Would I have handled it exactly like Kenyon Martin? No, because I'm not someone that handles confrontations very well. I'll use this as an example. And again, this is, hypothetical. If BRF or Champ, and again, this is hypothetical. I want to make it abundantly clear. If BRF or Champ made fun of something that affected me, like for instance, contrary to what people may think or believe, I have autism. It does. And it affects me personally. And in a few weeks, we're about to hit April. In case who may not know, April is Autism Awareness Month. If BRF or Champ or anyone within my inner circle made fun of something that affected me personally, would I have handled it the way that Kenyon Martin did? No. I would have a private conversation with them. I definitely would have voiced my frustrations. But eventually I would forgive and move on. Because at the end of the day, I don't view Champ BRF as friends. I view them as brothers. I talk to them. Hell, I even talk to them more than I talk to my own family. It's not to say I don't love talking to my family, but let's be honest. We got some family members. They ain't easy to talk to. So I talk to Champ. I talk to BRF. I talk to Nakia. I talk to D. I talk to my therapist. I have no problem with how the way Kenyon Martin responded or felt. Because at the end of the day, when something like that, when someone makes fun of you, especially the magnitude of someone making fun of your speech impediment, I can understand. If someone made fun of my autism, that would really affect me. That would hurt me. But I would just try to forgive or move on. I can't tell Kenyon Martin how he's supposed to feel. I would only tell you how I would feel, how I would have handled it. Kenyon Martin and I obviously have different philosophies. He felt like, no, because you decided to air that out publicly, I'm gonna do the same thing, and I'm gonna confront you publicly. Only weird thing throughout that whole conversation was Nick Young responding by saying, "Get your ass out of here." That was the only hilarious thing. Only reason why Nick Young probably understood, because remember, 10 years ago, D'Angelo Russell did expose him, which led to ending with him and Iggy Azalea. Am I lying? And you
Nope,
would know,
that
Champ, because
was
you're a Laker fan.
that was one of the most.
That was
I
solo
cannot
down.
say what I would say back
That was
then
solo
because I was
down.
like, I was like in my 20s, but that was a coward move going left. I'm gonna say it like an old man rather than I would have when I was in my younger days. But that was a coward move going left. What I will say, man, should please be thankful that that was 2026 Kmart and not 04 version of Kmart because you probably would have
If it
got
was the old Kenyon Martin,
burned.
obviously there would be some furniture moving.
If
But
that was peak New Jersey, Nick Kenyon Martin, boy,
He probably
homeboy
would have
wouldn't
threw
have
him
a
out
jaw.
of the window. He
He
probably
wouldn't
would
have
have threw him out
at
the
the very least he wouldn't have a jaw.
window.
but Kenyon Martin, Kenyon Martin, he made it clear. I saw the latest video from him. I saw him responding to Gilbert Arenas because Gilbert Arenas mentioned how that video of Suge, the producer, mocking Kenyon Martin's speech impediment, that was years ago. But Kenyon Martin feels like doesn't matter if it was years ago, doesn't matter if it was recent or old. He feels like if you wronged him once, he's not going to forgive you, and he's done with you. I think for Kenyon Martin in that situation, it was very uncomfortable watching it, the whole thing. Again, I can't tell Kenyon Martin how to handle that type of situation. At least he was consistent. To his point, he said, "Hey, if you felt that comfortable saying that about me publicly, expect the same return."
Yeah.
One thing is for sure, his job with Gil's Arena and his relationship with Kenyon Martin,
I don't know.
done. And I hope it's a teaching lesson for everyone. If you know someone who's very sensitive about something that really bugs them and affect them, don't make fun of someone. Don't make fun of someone like that. If it were somebody out on the internet that would make fun of my autism, as angry or upset as I would be, I don't expect much, because let's just be honest, there's assholes, there's idiots on the internet. But I think what hurt him the most with Kenyon Martin is that I've invited you over to my house. I've treated you like family. I've treated you like a brother. You've seen my wife. You've seen my kids. I've done everything I could for you. And regardless of how old the video was, this is what you thought of me? And Kenyon Martin has made it well aware that he's very sensitive about his speech impediment. I mean, I was listening to Speak Easy. To your point, BRF, Emmanuel Acho, I will give him this. He's a lot more intelligent than I give him credit for. He felt that the same exact way as I would. I would have handled the situation privately, but again, to each his own. I still have a lot more to say, but whoever wants to go, what are your thoughts regarding the whole Kenyon Martin thing?
I'll go because I've been here. I know we talked about it a little bit before the show. So like what I get personally out of this, one thing I've always respected about Kenyon Martin, not only as a player but a person, he's always been his authentic self. He hasn't changed a dime for nobody. No amount of money has changed the type of man that he is, from what I've gathered from him, seeing it from the outside, not knowing him personally. But what I've gathered from Kenyon Martin, he's been true to himself since, he was like college player of the year in Cincinnati before he got drafted.
Right.
into the National Basketball Association. Yeah, like in sports PSP said it like absolutely well from the standpoint of just, we can't tell that man how to react in certain situations like that. We can't tell him how to act. We can't tell him how to react. Everybody's going to react a certain way in any given situation. I probably would have done it the same. I probably done it the same way as far as like if someone if someone says something about me or something about me that maybe I might not have liked. I think it would have been like a private thing. I'm not the type that really wants to just air stuff out like that because I feel like everybody deserves at least that type of grace as far as like we take it to the side, we handle this like grown folks supposed to, and then if we find the middle ground, we go from there. If not, then hey, it is what it is. But from Kenyon Martin's perspective, he's looking at it from a standpoint like, is shout out to the rapper, to the homie Rocco. Got a song called Snakes. That's kind of how Kenyon Martin look at it. Smiling faces. Just they're not always what they seem. They're not always what they seem to be. In the better terms of that song. So Kenyon Martin just kind of that's a violation of trust, and just from the standpoint of him just saying like, nah, we ain't cool like that no more. He don't play as far as like the trust factor. He gives you one shot. You violated at any point in time, he can't count on you no more. You
He
because
done.
because it's one of those things where it's like if you do it to me once, you can do it to me again. I'm not gonna take that chance and risk and have you do something like that to me again. And that's not, and really that's understandable because I've been down there. I've been down that road. I've put my trust in people and they violated it. So I've been, hey, honestly, we've all been down that road. We know what it feels like. So from Kenyon Martin's standpoint, he felt like he needed to do what he had to do. As a man from his side of the track, from his perspective, he felt like he did what he felt like he needed to do, what was best. So, he put it out there. He wanted people to see like, hey, your friends ain't always your friends. So, shout out to him for I respect them. I respect someone like Kenyon Martin letting the vulnerability situation like that because I look at it like I want to word this. I look at it from a standpoint of just sheer being able to just like I said, it's the vulnerability, but it's also just it's the transparency. You see him on the podcast, he talk his stuff. How aggressive we know how aggressive Kenny Martin was as a player. We obviously and he's taking it to the
And
podcasting
as a
world.
personality.
Exactly, as a personality, we've seen how he is in the podcast world. He does not hold anything back. Something like this, he's not going to change. He's not going to change that approach. So I respect it on his standpoint. He ain't changing. So I mean, for everybody out there who be careful what you say, be careful how you act around people when someone allows you to really get inside that wall, to get inside that bubble. Because a lot of us really kind of protect ourselves. We've been through stuff. So we're at a point in our lives where we kind of protect ourselves. We're wary of who we associate with. So it's like when we let people in, we got love for you. We respect you. We admire you. When we let you in, just know you worked hard to get here. You shown yourself. Now it's up to you to continue that trend, to continue that going, and allow people to continue to say, "Hey, I can count on this person." Because once you violate it, it's done with some of us. So I respect Kenyon Martin for the vulnerability. So hey, I've always had love for Kmart anyway. He was always one of my favorite players in the NBA just because of how hard he played. Was he the best offensive player? Absolutely not. But you know what he did? He was
Effort.
110%. He was 120% every time he stepped on that floor. Helped the New Jersey Nets get to an NBA Finals. Took the Denver Nuggets through some of their best stages as a franchise before Nikola Jokic got there. So hey, man, shout out. Hey, we gotta give love to Kmart because Kmart is never gonna change regardless of who it is. So I'm gonna give him a shout out. We can't tell the man how to act. He did it his way, and I respect him for that.
I agree. I just feel like I can't tell someone how to feel in that situation. Again, if it were me, I would have handled it differently. But again, that's me. I can't tell somebody else how to handle it. Not everyone's going to feel exactly the same way. And even if BRF or Champ said something derogatory or offensive to me, with that being said, we always going to be brothers. We always going to communicate. We always going to talk. It was just unfortunate that it had to happen. You know, it's really sad, and I just hope everyone learned a very valuable lesson. And also, be careful with what you say and what you do. Be careful what you say about people, especially something that really bothers or triggers them, because you don't know how they feel. But big fella, the floor is yours.
Kmart. Look, man, I don't have no problem with somebody confronting somebody, man. There's an old saying that came from my family and my family only. I remember, I think one of my aunts had said this because it occurred. The video occurred in a public space. There is an old saying that I like to say: where you violate at is that's where you're gonna get demonstrated at. Or how did my aunt say this? If you show your ass in public, I'm gonna make sure I pull my drawers down. That's how it goes. So that's just the thing. If you go out there and try to show out on somebody and try to show somebody up, then guess what? They have every right to come and confront you about it, whether that be in a public setting or a private setting. And I can't tell. Look, I'm gonna just be real. If somebody embarrasses you in public, who are we to tell somebody that I can't embarrass you now? Don't get mad when it's my turn. In the great words of finesse, it's cool when they do it. Now it's a problem when I do it. No, that ain't how it works. Don't sit around here and try to criticize me. He did it in a public space. He made fun of me in a public setting. Guess what? Now I'm going to embarrass you in a public setting. Now, how I choose to embarrass you and how much embarrassment you take, that's up to you. But
If there was one, I'm sorry, Jim, not to interrupt you. If there was one thing I forgot that Suge really lost me, is when he said, when Kenyon Martin mentioned him, I don't think I was being disrespectful. Well, if you was being disrespectful, if you felt like you weren't being disrespectful, why apologize?
Yeah. So why would you apologize for it if you didn't feel like you was being disrespectful? You knew you had messed up. So you tried to tell them that and try to get ahead of the situation. So that's why you was trying to, cover your ass, so to speak. But look, be careful what you say. But everybody don't play like that. I tell everybody that. Some of my friends, we play like that. We go around, we play fight, we do stuff like that. Hey, we talk about each other. Hey, we cool. Other friends, they don't play that shit. So I don't go that way with them. Some of my friends are a little bit more serious than a lot more. So I don't take my jokes and shit around them. I leave that at my house. Or I leave that with the other friends. When I go out with one pair of friends, hey, we're gonna do this way. Hey, cool. I'm in another pair of friends, they might not be as playful. I'm just being real. Everybody ain't playing with you. And especially when you're doing business, you gotta be careful what you say anyway, because I understand that was a couple of years ago, but you gotta ask yourself, you don't know who you're gonna end up doing business with at a later time. That's like I'm always saying, keep your words soft and sweet because you might have to eat them later on. You don't know who you're gonna end up doing business with. You making fun of the speech impediment. Guess what? But yeah,
That's the
man. I mean, speech impediment. I know a lot of people with speech impediment, and guess what, man? They don't like to be made fun of it. So guess what? They don't have to be made fun of it. And look, I can say firsthand, I was guilty of making fun of one of my people when they had one. Did they take it to heart? No. But that was fortunate for me. If they would have taken it to heart, that would have that would have been bad on my part. But fortunately, he's a very, very playful guy. We're still cool to this day. And guess what? He had a little nickname. We bought him a little T-shirt of a certain cartoon character, and he would wear it around. Just kind of making fun of the situation. But he was like that. We could play with him like that. Another friend who had that same issue, he didn't play like that. So yeah, so you got to be careful. Everybody don't play like that. Everybody is not playing with you. The jokes that I do with my guys here in Columbus, I don't do that with PSP because guess what? It's more serious. The jokes that we do down here, I know. Look, PSP don't play that shit. I'm not gonna do that. So guess what? That's the boundary. And certain shit you don't do when you're dealing with friends, whether you know them well or don't know them well. Some shit you don't do as a man just out of respect. Even if it was 2 years ago, you don't know this man from Adam. So why are you sitting around here making fun of him, knowing that this dude can whoop your ass? That's number one. That's Kmart. So
I think the bigger thing for me is why would you make fun of someone for having that type of problem when you know how it impacts them?
Yeah, it's something they can't. It's something they can't
They
control. I mean, that's no.
they can't control. Like I said, I bring up the autism.
yeah,
For those who may not know, I have autism. I was diagnosed around, I think, the age of 3 or 4. If someone made fun of my autism, that's a problem for me. Now, if it's some idiot out on the street or someone on the internet, as hurtful as it is, I don't expect much. I don't know them, so I don't have to waste my time paying any attention to them. But like I said, and again, I use it as a hypothetical. If it were BRF, Champ, or somebody else that said something derogatory or offensive about my autism, if they use the R word, which
yeah,
I will not say on the air because of how much that also triggers me, I would have a problem with it. I still will communicate and talk to BRF and Champ. To me, they're still brothers to me. But I would tell them I have a problem. One of the reasons why I love Champ to death and why I talk to him, he knows there are certain things I have a problem with. One of them, the N word. I don't like it when other people in group chats and stuff use the N word because I feel like to me, that's not a word as a term of endearment. It's a word used to insult our ancestors. Now, if somebody else used the term, obviously a white person used the term, well, you'd be ready to fight. I tried my best not to use that term in front of us and in front of other groups of people because I don't want them thinking that that word is acceptable and
yeah,
it's cool when it's not. Same thing I tell women. I tell women I don't like it when y'all call each other the B word because you know what that term means. And I asked them this question: how would you feel if I said that term about you? Needless to say, you'd be ready to fight, or you would get somebody to whip my ass on your behalf. And I don't want that because I don't want to use that term because I feel like that's not a term as a term of endearment. You just got to be careful with the type of people that you're with. For Kenyon Martin, I think he should forgive, not for the person, for yourself. That's first and foremost. You should forgive for yourself. Because if you continue to hold on to pain, evidently, where is that going to lead you?
yeah,
I would forgive them for me. If someone did something wrong to me, I forgive them for me. Now, I can forgive someone for them if they show contrition, if they show remorse, if they change their ways. The greatest apology is changed behavior. So if someone has admitted the things that they've done wrong, apologize, show contrition, remorse, and make sure that doesn't happen again and learn, I look at that as a testament to how far they've come, which is why it's easier for me to forgive. If I'm Kenyon Martin, I would forgive. Not for the person, not necessarily for the person that did me wrong, but for me. Because I'm going to hold on to that pain. And I may take that pain or frustration out on somebody else that they don't deserve. The reason why it really triggers me, I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to tell this to the panel off the air because this really affected me a few years ago during the pandemic. I don't want to talk about that because this is really personal. I'll talk about this with BRF and Champ off the air. I'll probably bring it up at some moment in time. Just to put it in context. But I just hope overall this is just a lesson for all of us. Before we move on to the next subject, is there anything y'all want to add?
Yeah, I have something I want to add. Like PSP said earlier, he gave that as a great example. There's friends that I use the N word around. When I come around PSP, I leave that shit at the door. I know he don't like that word, so I don't bring it around him. I know he
Oh,
don't like certain languages, and I don't bring that around him.
also, the only reason why I also don't like using the N word because my therapist also watches the show and she's old school, and I don't want to also like bother her. So that's another
Yeah,
reason.
yeah, pay respect. And it's look, and I gotta admit, between my guy Justin, shout out to my guy Fresh back in Columbus, between my guy Fresh and PSP, I have toned it down. Now I haven't toned it down as much as I should, but yeah, I have toned it down because guess what? When you have certain dialect with certain friends, they say I don't like that. You got to be careful about what you say because you don't want to drive your friends away because you don't know how to close your damn mouth and stop using certain words. But don't sit around here. Know who to play with and who not to play with. Like I said, there's a lot of friends who I play with. I make jokes about. I call them in the middle. I call them at 2 in the morning and say some nursery rhyme shit, but they hang up the phone and they'll laugh about it. Now I've done it. Oh, I'm serious. There's some friends that will call me at 2 in the morning. Even at this big age, we damn near four, they call me at 2 in the morning. Hey, blah, 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 blah. They hang up the phone. Only thing I do is laugh and I can roll back over and go to sleep. But I bet I do that with, God. I couldn't be in there with God, rest my soul, rest his soul, my brother, something like that. He came up to my house and beat the hell out of me. So, no, you just did not call me, knowing I have a double shift in the morning. But yeah, everybody ain't playing. Do I think there's a such thing as second chances as forgiveness? Yes, I do, because I always say this. If it was me, would I want a second chance? Yeah. And unfortunately, you're gonna have disagreements with people who you care about. It's unavoidable. And the more you try to avoid it, the more it's gonna show when it least needs to. So you're gonna have disagreements. Should it turn ugly? No. But yeah, know who you're talking to, know who be careful who you offend. They say that in the 48 Laws of Power, by the way. Yes, I read that book. So they said in the 48 Laws of Power, be careful who you offend. And guess what? Because you don't never know what's going to happen. Like if you would have told Suge that 2 years ago while he was making fun of Kenyon Martin that he was going to be working with him 2 years later, then he probably would have called you a liar. So guess what? You got to be careful about what you say with people about that. So, hey, just understand something. You don't never know who you're gonna meet. You're never gonna know who you're gonna run into, end up working with. And be careful who you offend. And if you know one of your friends has zero tolerance for bullshit, then leave that bullshit at the door. There's a lot of, like I said, and I hate to be repetitive, there's a lot of friends who I play with, a lot of friends who I call at 2 in the morning, and you know, hey man, what the hell you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Then I hang up the phone, I go back over, go sleep. We'll laugh about it the next morning. I'm not gonna necessarily do that with my more serious friends, like a PSP. I'm not gonna do that. Like, no, bro, he gonna cuss my ass out if I do that shit. But you know,
no, the reason why I'm not gonna be as hard on you, champ, because unlike most of my friends, you care. Some of my friends really don't care or take into consideration how I feel. You're one of the very few who actually do, which is why I'm not going to be too hard on you or B or F. Y'all fair. Like I said, I talk to y'all more than I actually talk to my own family. I talk to y'all more than I talk to my own father. Hate to say that, but that's just the truth. But because again, I got issues with some family members. You know, I mean, both my mom and my father's side. Let's just be honest. PSP's family ain't the greatest. Neither am I. I mean, we got some family issues. So that's why I talk to y'all. I talk to you. I talk to BRF. I talk to Kia. I talk to Nessa. I talk to Brandon. I talk to a lot of other people. I talk to D, especially D. So, but be careful with who you offend because you don't know who you're gonna deal with one day. And if you know something as serious as that, champ, and I don't want to be redundant, but do you remember when Ed Ferrara crossed the line when he made fun of Jim Ross's Bell's palsy?
Oh yeah, and Jim Cornette got pissed and wanted to beat the hell out of him, and even spit in his eye. And then
Yeah, he did. He spit in his eye.
What was so funny about that? And I think I have that syndrome too, like Jim Cornette. I don't really care what you do to me because there's not much you can do to offend me. I've survived more shit. God, all glory to God. I've survived more shit in this world I probably shouldn't have. So I don't really get offended like that. So if you a friend, one of my guys though, like bro, you done crossed the line. Now I'm finna beat your ass, or we finna have some words because you shouldn't have said that. Number one, because I take friendship very, very seriously. So yeah, so that was about the right reaction that he had. But and JR, he really just shrugged it off. He was like, no, and I Jim Cornette.
That's why you call him colorful.
I never forget. He called up Ed Ferrara. He said, "I just want to tell your black boy about the things that you did to offend me and my friends, and I just want to let you know that one of these days I'm gonna catch you." That's the, but Jr. He shrugged it off. Jim Cornette, no, that was my friend. You said that about. I'm for me and you for to have some words. So,
well, Jim Cornette, in fairness to him, he is consistent. I mean, I can't go into the exact detail, but there was the situation with him and Brock Lesnar.
Yeah.
You know what happened regarding, which we will not go any further because, again, it's uglier than a masterpiece sneaker, as you always say.
It's super ugly.
But that's how I felt about the situation, champ. I bring up the Ed Ferrara Jim Ross thing because, again, you know how offensive it is to make fun of someone, especially with that type of problem. And you don't know how they're going to deal with inside and out.
Yeah.
So even though Jim Ross shrugged it off, didn't act like it bothered him, most people would have reacted the same way as Jim Cornette.
Yeah.
You feel like you're going to go as far to disrespect not only a friend, someone who is well liked and respected and revered in this business, someone who's a workaholic, someone who puts their life on the line for this business. You're going to go as far as to disrespect him? I can't blame Jim Cornette for feeling that way. Somebody did that to if somebody did that to our family members or friends, we would have reacted the same way.
Absolutely. It's just like it's just like, well, you've seen the PSP. I've won off on people who said certain stuff about you, and I don't even know these cats on the internet. So I'm like, bro, shut up. And I tell them a couple of things. You end up blocking them before I can tell them what is really on my mind because I can get kind of colorful myself. But
I think my therapist told me like if it bothers you or triggers you to the point where it's not going to lead you to anywhere, block them.
Yeah.
I
But yeah,
rather block them. I'd rather not give them my energy, my time, and I'm also afraid of what I'm also going to say because again, I'm trying to get out there in this business. I'm trying to grow as a content creator and as a podcaster. How does that look on my part by going after a bunch of dumbasses on social media?
exactly. But yeah, there's a lot of times where we fought wars. Not just with stupid dudes on the internet. But, you know, you know about the wars we fought.
Yeah,
But
but people
yeah,
got to be more careful with what they say and what they do. I understand freedom of speech, but at the same time, as you always say, champ, with Ice T,
freedom of speech. Yeah, watch what you say. And look, there's a lot of things that are free in this world. You do have freedom of speech, but you have freedom to an ass whooping as well.
Freedom of speech does not prevent freedom of
You
consequence.
got freedom to an ass. There's a lot of less things free, but you got freedom of speech, and you got freedom to an ass whooping as well. If somebody gets too offended about it, that they steal off on you, then hey, I'm just being real.
you being real honest, man. BRF. Before we move on, is there anything you want to say?
Yeah. Yeah. Like this is. I've always felt like if you can pick on someone or you can say something about someone, like talk about something that affects them that they necessarily can't control, like Kenya Martin having a speech impediment. If you can talk about something like that about someone that they can't, and it's something that they can't control, that tells me you didn't have their best interest in heart from the jump in the first place. So that really says more about you and your character than that person that you talked about. Because if that person was willing to let you in their wall and their bubble like that, for you to take advantage of that and violate them in a situation like that, that tells me you didn't have their best interest in heart in the first place. And really, I could completely understand why Kenyon Martin wouldn't trust him anymore, why he wouldn't want to be around him anymore. You have to, you really got y'all got to listen here, man. PSP's been spitting, Champ's been spitting. I mean, these, hey man, we gonna tell it like it is. Don't take advantage of people that are willing to lay it down for you and they're willing, to give you clothes or jacket off their back. Don't violate people like that, because those people are rare, and those people don't come around that often. So when you get people like that in your life that are loyal to you and that will go to battle for you, that are willing to land, that are willing to fight, lay in the foxhole with you, they're the ones you want to keep around. So I completely understand why Kenyon Martin don't trust him anymore. Trust is nothing to play with nowadays, man. People got to be wary. Got to be wary.
Or as my goat Stone Cold Steve Austin always said, don't trust anybody. Hope everyone learned a valuable lesson about this. But let's move on to a positive note. We got football. Obviously the Miami Dolphins, well, actually a negative note. They traded Jalen Waddle to the Denver Broncos. They're about $175 million dead in cap space. What the hell is going on in Miami? I mean, Malik Willis just signed a deal in Miami, a 3-year deal, and already nothing to work with. It seems to me they just tanking for what? Arch or for somebody in the 2027, 2028 NFL draft? I
Jeremiah
mean,
Smith.
Jeremiah Smith. I mean, you cut Tua, and because of that, look how much money, 99.2 million.
Oh my
I mean, you moved on from Mike McDaniel. You cut Jalen Waddle. You're now about $175 million in cap space. It's going to take some hell. I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's harder like Champ with his diet. It's going to be hell for Miami just in order for them to get through cap hell. But as for Denver, I like it. It helps out Bo Nix's chances in terms of growth and development. I truly believe if Bo Nix had played in the AFC Championship game against the Patriots, they would have won and advanced to the Super Bowl. Not saying they would have won it, but I do think they would have won the AFC Championship game, not the Super Bowl, the AFC Championship game. For Miami, even if you get draft picks or whatever, you're still in cap hell. So BRF or champ, whoever goes first. I think Denver won this one because they get themselves a target to help them out. But what are y'all thoughts?
Miami has to hit on every draft pick. They can't
Mhm.
miss at this point. You cannot
Especially with
miss.
that cap hell situation.
Boy, they in the deepest bowels of hell. That's that white fire right there.
Hmm.
So yeah, they in the lake of fire. Hey, they got smited and got tossed into the fiery pit. Right now, they have two first round picks. They have a second round picks. They have 4/3, a fourth, a fifth, and two sevenths. And yeah, they're gonna have to hit on every last one of them. They're gonna have to hit. As far as Denver is concerned, they won because right now that puts them in a better position on the offensive side of the ball. They already had the defense in order to get everything done. Now, you've gotten more offense. So you got to ask yourself, does this make them the prohibited favorite right about now in the AFC, especially in the AFC West at this point? They wouldn't have gotten a Jalen Waddle. They have a Cortland Sutton. They have the tight end. They have the running backs that's capable. And they have an offensive minded head coach along with that great defense. So you got to ask yourself, is this their time at this point? Can they, get themselves all, can they have a championship pedigree once again? So you got to ask yourself that. And it's something about Sean Payton in year four. There's something about Sean Payton in year four. Remember, he got the
Super
New
Bowl
Orleans. He got
to
the
the
New
Super
Orleans.
Bowl, won that Super Bowl in
Yeah,
year 4. Yeah,
yeah.
I know. I know.
So he got the New Orleans in 2006. By 2010, that ring erased everything that the New Orleans Saints had been through. Got to give him credit where credit is due on that. So look, year four. Now you have another receiver. You got another weapon to go with Portland Sutton, the running backs, and that good offensive line you got. It's Super Bowl or bust at this point. It really is a Super Bowl or bust. You already proved you can get to the AFC Championship. But Denver won. They have the coaching. They have the players. They have the quarterback. It's just only a question of if you can do it. Because at the end of the day, play has to be played on that field. It's not played on the offseason. It's not played in the locker room. It's not played on Madden. Shout out to the New York Jets. It's not played on Mad Radio. You got to play on that field.
It's definitely in terms of scheme and fit, but Miami, you better hit it with them draft picks because you sure as hell don't have cap money to help you or save you. You sunken. BRF.
I was about to do the okay. What are okay from number standpoint? What are the draft picks that the Miami Dolphins hold right now in terms of numbers?
Okay,
Like
I'm finna go.
particularly those first round picks. Where are they at in the first round?
All right, I already got it up for you. They have the number 11th overall pick and the number 30 overall pick, and the second round pick they have the number 43 overall pick.
With the Miami Dolphins at the for the Miami Dolphins, they're gonna. I feel
They
like with
should get
11, they're
Cornell
gonna.
Tate.
I don't think Carnell. I don't know if Carnell Tate drops to 11, you have to take him. I don't think he's gonna drop. I don't think he's gonna
Well,
drop
he
to
may be
11.
higher in the draft. He's definitely going to be like in the top 7 or top
Yeah,
8, but you have to get a wide receiver, whether him
no, I'm saying
or
it's
Lemon
him.
from USC.
Yeah, it's him. I feel like the first round receivers right now for me are probably Carnell Tate or probably Makai Lemon. You're looking at a Jordan Tyson out of Arizona State. I feel like those are the three that jump off the page for me right off the bat. I think you got to get one of them with that 11th overall pick. I'm looking at wide receiver 11 for Miami, and then 30. I'm probably looking at some offensive line help with that 30th overall pick with Miami. Yeah, like what the fuck going on in Miami, bro? Like man, like it's if I'm Malik Willis and I'm looking at what they're doing, I'm like, you just gave me $67.2 million over the next 3 years, and you gonna trade and cut my two best wide receivers? What we doing? And the crazy thing about it is now Devin A Chain is in trade rumors himself. So it's like, what are we doing? What are we doing? But yeah, this is a clear win for the Denver Broncos because what Jalen Waddle's going to do for that offense, you have him, you have Troy Franklin on the outside. I think honestly, what this does, this puts Cortland Sutton in the slot. He's still a good enough route runner. He's more along the. He's like a big body that can
Don't
kind of
forget
get to the.
Marvin Mims.
Oh, I love Marvin Mims. He's an X factor player for me. But I'm looking at it from the standpoint of the top three receivers. You put Cortland Sutton in the slot. I think he's a big body. He's good as far as finding openings in the zone and zone coverages and all of those stuff. I think he's perfect for the slot in this situation now. And then I think they were able to keep J.K. Dobbins. You have him and R.J. Harvey in the backfield. That's a hell of a duo. You still have that good offensive line. We already know what that defense is. That defense is top 3 in football, along with Seattle and Houston. They're the 3 best defenses in football. Let's not hold back. Let's just keep it 100. So I really love this for the Denver Broncos. I love it. I feel like this makes them the prohibitive favorites in the AFC West again. If this doesn't make them the prohibitive favorites in the AFC, I feel like if Bo Nix is able to stay healthy throughout, because I'm kind of with you, PSP. I think the AFC Championship game we're writing a different tale if Bo Nix is able to play in this game, and even still, Jarrett Stidham, shout out to him. He played a heck of a game in that snowstorm.
That was more Sean Payton's fault in that AFC Championship game because I felt like you decided to go for it on 4th down. But you have to understand the circumstances. That was with Jarrett Stidham at quarterback. And it wasn't even snowing that much until later in the game. You could have just get your points. Your defense did everything it could to hang in that game. And again, like with Bo Nix, and the reason why I keep bringing up Bo Nix, look, I am not in any way saying that Bo Nix is an elite or franchise quarterback. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is he's a good enough quarterback that you could win with. Without Bo Nix, okay, everyone kept saying Bo Nix is the weakest link. All right, Bo Nix is gone. All right, let's see what somebody else could do at QB. And guess what? Jarrett Stidham, to his credit, he did well. He hung in as much as he could, but it wasn't enough. Bo Nix had 8 game-winning drives, I think, in that season. We keep talking about Caleb Williams being clutch. Bryce Young being clutch. Bo Nix is also clutch as well. And matter of fact, let's not act as if Bo Nix was all that bad because even though I'm happy that my guy Jaden Daniels won Offensive Rookie of the Year, late in the season, Bo Nix was making a compelling case. Matter of fact, BRF, I said that Jaden Daniels, Offensive Rookie of the Year, so did Champ. You were like, not just yet. Bo Nix is starting to heat up. And then you decided to change your mind until the Atlanta-Washington game.
That season, the Atlanta-Washington game did it for me. It clinched it for Jaden Daniels. Just his ability, his feel for the game. When Atlanta was making that run, and they really couldn't put him away when you felt like they were about to, and Jaden Daniels just said, "Yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and take this game over," and then he throws a touchdown to Zach Ertz to win it. But yeah, Bo Nix just presents so many more matchup problems for defenses. And I felt like it would have gave the New England Patriots a lot more headaches as opposed to Jarrett Stidham, who played well. But Bo Nix just gives you that extra that you need as a QB1 in order to go out there and win, and basically go out there and win you a football game. So I'm on that edge too, as far as like, could Denver have one with Bo Nix? I absolutely think Denver probably would have one with Bo Nix. But I like this move as far as what Jalen Waddle is going to be able to do. It gives him
Oh, absolutely.
He comes in. He's immediately wide receiver 1. Gives him a really good. He's easily their best all-around receiver. He's an amazing deep threat. We saw that with Miami, but he's also good. He's an amazing route runner. He does everything. Intermediates, short, like intermediate routes, drag routes. Your comebacks, screens. You can use Jalen
the digs.
Exactly. You can use Jalen Waddle in a plethora of ways, and he is yak. He is a threat to go to the house whenever he touches the ball. And honestly, it's something that the Denver Broncos really need as a true wide receiver one, someone who can just do it all. And it just opens the door, and you're gonna see that depth now with the wide receiver core. I think you can, like I said, you put Cortland Sutton in the slot. You have Troy Franklin on the outside. He could be your other deep threat, or if you want to move him in the slot, that's fine as well. And then, hey, like you said, PSP Marvin Mims, another amazing deep threat who's good in a multitude of ways as well, not only on the offensive side of the ball, but on
He's also really good with the deep threat as well. Exactly. I would know because he went to my school, Oklahoma. So
Oklahoma.
Yeah. And I also think with Sean Payton, look, as long as you have a competent quarterback, and I think Bo Nix is competent enough, you fine, and you still have the defense intact. So that's what's going to be the thing. I think for Denver, it has to be at least to the Super Bowl, because Kansas City, even though they've done their homework in the free agency so far with Kenneth Walker, still, huh?
Oh, I was just saying, no, I love that move, Casey, getting Kenneth Walker.
Oh, yes, and also
that made so much sense in so many different ways.
And we're going to talk about Kansas City in just a second. We still got to wait. The Chargers, even though their issues is with the offensive line, they did lose one of the pass rushers who's now with Washington. I think Washington, I'm feeling really optimistic with Washington. We've had a really productive offseason. I mean, there's them, Carolina, unfortunately for you, BRF and Champ, New Orleans. They've had a productive offseason as well, too. The Raiders. I think the team, to me, like I said, who didn't do so well in free agency was the Colts, because you overpaid Alec Pierce. Meanwhile, with the Steelers, Michael Pittman, the former wide receiver, he ended up going to the Steelers for a 3-year, $60 deal, and you also get Rico Dowdle to move on from Gainwell. But back to Denver, I think this helps Denver's chances as far as with the offense. I think if you give Jalen Waddle, Bo Nix, the difference between Bo Nix and Tua is that not only Bo Nix is more athletic, Bo Nix has a bigger arm. So I think that can also open up the floor for the passing attack. So I think if that works, and plus you got the running game going. I mean, who was the rookie running back? I think it was RJ Harvey.
Mm-hmm.
So, and yes. And look, Denver, this helps their chances. Whoever thought that Bo Nix, of all people, would not only outperform Josh Allen, but beat him?
Yes.
We picked Buffalo. It was unanimous. All of us, we picked Buffalo because this would be the best opportunity for Josh Allen to win. And Josh Allen committed 5 turnovers in that game. Bo Nix only 1. We can talk about the controversial play in overtime, but at the same time, Bo Nix, when it counted most, delivered the goods. So I think Denver won this one. As for Miami, you have to hit it on the nail with these draft picks, because obviously with the cap money situation, that's hell. But let's talk about the Chiefs, man. Justin Fields is with the Chiefs. I like it for Justin Fields because like I said, Andy Reid. That's the reason why I love Andy Reid. Andy Reid is a baby face to me. If you're a quarterback, or if you're a weapon out there, or if you're someone who's talented, and if you need a rejuvenation, Andy Reid is your guy.
Mm-hmm.
Andy Reid rolled the dice with Donovan McNabb when they drafted him with the number 2 overall pick back in 1999. Matter of fact, Donovan McNabb was booed on draft day.
Mm-hmm.
Donovan McNabb, if he actually won a Super Bowl or 2, to me, he'd be a Hall of Famer.
He's a great. He would be easily the greatest quarterback in the history of that franchise, and definitely, you're definitely saying a little bit. You're saying some different things about him. If he just gets 1, you're saying different things about him.
Yeah, one or 2. If he won like a Super Bowl or 2, because 5 NFC Championship appearances, a Super Bowl appearance, he's made 6 Pro Bowls throughout his time. He was considered a top 10 quarterback in the NFL. 2 champs point. I disagree with Dante Culpepper being above him, but I agree with Steve McNair, rest his soul. Steve McNair was able to say, hey, I've been to Super Bowl. I've been to a couple of AFC Championship appearances. I did win an MVP in 2003. Me and Peyton Manning did that.
I still
And I
don't
was
agree with that, but that's just my opinion. I still have McNabb over McNair, but that's my opinion.
no, that's fair. No, I mean, I ain't got no problem with it. I
Mm.
disagree with Champ with the Dante Culpepper one. That was the one where he lost me with that one. But Justin Fields to Andy Reid. I love it because you don't have to rush in Patrick Mahomes right away. Let him sit and recover. I thought, to your point, Champ, they could have gotten Joe Milton, but that didn't end up happening. But I kind of like it for Justin Fields because, again, with Andy Reid, if you're a guy who needs a rejuvenation, Andy Reid is your guy. We saw what he did with Michael Vick in 2010. Without question, that was the best we saw Michael Vick as a passer.
Mm.
That was by far Michael Vick at his peak as a passer. We saw what he did with Alex Smith after the 2011 season, taking the team to the NFC Championship. Then the year after that, they moved on from him with for Colin Kaepernick.
Mhm.
He had some productive seasons in Kansas City, especially in 2017. And then, of course, we know what he's done with Patrick Mahomes. And we saw what he did with Kevin Kolb. We know what he did as the offensive coordinator in Green Bay when he worked with Brett Favre under the great Mike Holmgren. So I like it for Justin Fields to just sit, to just play, step in. He's probably going to start for like 3-4 games until Mahomes comes back. Who knows if Mahomes is going to start in the season opener? If I'm the Chiefs, I just protect my investment in Mahomes, sit as much as he can, and when he is ready, until the doctors clear him, it's Justin Fields' job. I also like it for Justin Fields because, again, and to your point, Champ, I agree with you. Now that I look back, I agree with you. He shouldn't have left Pittsburgh to go for the Jets because you talked about the offensive line. You've often talked about how the quarterback cannot throw on his back.
Mhm.
And it's not just because of the offensive line with New York, which was an issue for Justin Fields. The Jets, they just can't get their shit together. Now, if you're a Jets fan right now, you're happy as hell, like I said last week, by bringing in Geno, because somehow, some way, he's going to help you get a quarterback. I mean, Seattle with Sam Darnold. You know who knows? New York, could it be Arch Manning? Could it be any other quarterback in the 2027 draft that we may not know? Obviously, he helped the Raiders get Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
So only time will tell. But I like it for Justin Fields going to Kansas City. I think the best way for him is to have someone like an Andy Reid to help him. With that type of talent that he has with the arm and the legs, and with Andy Reid as a play caller, and not only that, you also bring it back EB,
Yeah.
Eric Bieniemy. And imagine what Eric Bieniemy could use with Justin Fields as far as with the running game. After all, Eric Bieniemy was a former running backs coach. So it's interesting to see how that's going to work out. They did lose Marquise Hollywood Brown. He's now with the Philadelphia Eagles. Hey, Kansas City, why don't you try to bring your boy back home? In other words, Tyreek Hill. But that's all I got to say. What are y'all thoughts?
Good move. Good move. I think he's going to thrive in Kansas City, and I think he's going to be good. If you have an offensive-minded coach working with you now, you've never had that before. You didn't have it in Chicago, you didn't have it in Pittsburgh, and you didn't have it in New York. So you have an offensive-minded head coach to hone your skills now. So you don't have to worry about, trying to make big plays and coaches not concentrating on you. You know, you got a chance. So you got a chance, better take advantage of it. It's not that many chances, not that many times as you're going to get an Andy Reid. to coach you up, and you have that athleticism and that arm speed. And look, if he's good, you got to ask yourself this: how in a hurry are they going to be ready to bring back Patrick Mahomes? Because they are in a rebuilding stage right about now.
Yep,
So
reclamation
I don't know.
process. Yeah, and plus, to your point, you've mentioned how years to come they're going to move on from Kansas City to move to Kansas.
Yeah. So how long are you going to wait? How long are you going to wait and say, hey, Patrick Mahomes is out. Let's take our time. Because if I know if Justin Fields gets on a roll, I'm telling Patrick Mahomes, look, man, you worth $500 million. We only invested 1.5 in him. Go ahead and sit down. We trying to rebuild this team anyway. So don't be too anxious. Go ahead and sit down. We might go 9-7 if we're lucky with this division. Sit on down. I get you. If I don't catch you on the watch, I get you on the rinse.
BRF.
Definitely think this was a good move for Justin Fields. One thing we've seen with Andy Reid a lot over these years is his ability to work with the quarterbacks, and particularly the quarterbacks that are athletic. Like a Justin Fields. I mean, you've seen it with Patrick Mahomes. You saw it with Mike Vick. You saw it with Donovan McNabb. I mean, you saw it with Brett Favre in Green Bay. Like you said, PSP when he was offensive coordinator, he has a history of working with the athletic quarterbacks who can throw the ball, who can do everything, whether it be in the pocket, on the move. Justin Fields getting the opportunity to work with someone like Andy Reid is only gonna do wonders for his career, because I mean he's coming to Kansas City. He's going to be the starting quarterback with Patrick Mahomes on the mend. Like, you lose Hollywood Brown to the Eagles, but I mean you still have Xavier Worthy. The Rasheed Rice thing is a touchy subject, but I mean Kenneth Walker is definitely going to help that offense. Like, you can really kind of, if all else fails, you can focus on the running game early with him and Kenneth Walker, the RPOs, the bootlegs, and all, and all that Andy Reid, he has in his offense, in the playbook in the back as well. So all of this is really going to help Justin Fields. I love it for him to try to revitalize himself and kind of really get. You want him to be like the next in line as far as the reclamation projects, the Baker Mayfields, the Sam Darnolds of the world, who really, you have all the talent in the world. You just need someone who's competent enough as a coach to be able to harness that in. What better, what better coach than Andy Reid to be able to harness all that talent and really kind of channel it, and really show it on a more consistent basis to work in an offense with arguably, one of the greatest offensive minds in the history of this sport in Andy Reid. So I love it for Justin Fields. I mean, this was a good move on his part. I mean, you gotta, at the end of the day, you kind of got to look at you have to look at where you are in your career, the opportunities you have had. But honestly, you're still a young guy. You can make the most of it. What better way than to go to Kansas City? You pick Andy Reid's brain, you pick Eric Bieniemy's brain, him coming back and being the offensive coordinator. You have so many things to your advantage in order to make this work. You have to do this now. But I do think Justin Fields is. I think he's capable enough to go into Kansas City, even if they don't make the playoffs, even if they're like a 7, 8, 9 win team and they don't make the playoffs. If he has a good enough year to really show himself, who knows what the future holds for Justin Fields? But yeah, this was a really good move for Kansas City, bringing him in, and you just hope he becomes that next line of reclamation projects, and you kind of hope he can kind of get his career back online.
Well, before the Steelers went with Russell Wilson, I believe in 2024, the Steelers were 4-2 with Justin Fields at QB. So he doesn't have to play spectacular. All we just simply asking you to do, take care of the football, but with a brilliant offensive mind like Andy Reid. And when you have EB there with you, like Eric Bieniemy, I think this is also great for the Chiefs, Chip, because this is just the beginning for them to come back. Not right now, but in the years to come, in the reclamation process. I think bringing back EB was instrumental, because without EB, look how they were with Matt Nagy. So when you bring in a guy like EB, who's a no-nonsense guy, who's an offensive mind, the only mistake that he made, Champ, is when he had a new opportunity in Washington. To your point, he heavily relied on passing the football too much. But now I think they're in Kansas City, going back to Kansas City. Who knows with EB? Do I think even if he does a great job, will this help or elevate his chances of getting a head coaching job? Unfortunately for him, no. But I do think for Kansas City, it's going to help out the offense. But to your point, champ, they got to address the offensive line. Once they address that thing, then we can start get it going for Kansas City. That's their bread and butter. But let's talk about my favorite subject on the Sports PSP podcast, babyface or heel. Now, for those who may not know what babyface, heel means in wrestling terminology, babyface is a good guy, heel is a bad guy, a tweener is someone in between. This is one, I'm going to go with this wide receiver. One of my favorite wide receivers growing up. Y'all probably may not like him because he played in y'all division. Steve Smith.
He's honestly though, I would, Lord.
Remember Ice Up Son? Ice Up Son, when he told Keith to leave on Monday Night Football. Remember that fight they had? Monday Night Football between the Patriots and the Panthers. And remember, in 2005, he had the Triple Crown.
Guys his size
at 5'9", 190.
190. Guys at 5'9", 190 should not be dominating the field the way peak Steve Smith was, man. Even as a Falcon fan, you can't sit here and say you weren't entertained watching that brother on the football field at his peak. He was easily like one of the best receivers of the 2000s, even at his size.
Him and Muhsin Muhammad, they were an excellent.
That was fierce. That was a fierce tandem. That was that was the perfect, and that was the perfect combination of Muhsin Muhammad being the possession guy who could give you a deep ball every now and then Steve Smith just blowing the top off the defense, just absolutely just being one of the ultimate deep threats in the league, being an amazing guy, yak yards after the catch. He could take a 2-yard in route and just 60 touchdown. The dude was just that talented. For me, I'm gonna go babyface.
That's where I got him. And the other reason why I lean on babyface, remember what he said to Jared Judy? You know what he said to Jared Judy. You know how much.
You a jag. You a jag. You just a guy. You're a jag. And then it's like, and it's funny because Jerry Jeudy had an amazing year in Cleveland, and you thought maybe he had finally figured it out. But then 2025, he went back to Jag status. He went back to Jag status in 2025. So it's like one thing I give Steve Smith credit because from the standpoint of, this is what I'll say. They laughed at Steve Smith because he felt like Cooper Kupp was arguably the best wide receiver coming out of the draft his year when he got drafted. And people laughed at that tape. Look at what Cooper Kupp has done in the league. Steve Smith has a really good eye. And he should have a really good eye. He's one of the better wide receivers who've played in the league. So he should have a good eye as far as understanding the wide receiver position and who can play and who can't. He did a piece. He did a piece on us. We signed Jahan Dotson in the offseason. He did a piece on him talking about how much he loved Jahan Dotson and loved the fit in Atlanta. So if there's one thing Steve Smith's going to do, he's able to eye talent. He's able to eye situations. He's able to identify what works and what doesn't work. So people need to quit really kind of trying to go back and forth with Steve Smith about his knowledge at the wide receiver positions. If you do, you're an idiot anyway. The fact that so many people laughed at him about his Cooper Kupp tape, and then Cooper Kupp goes on to not only win a Super Bowl with the LA Rams, but has arguably the greatest wide receiver season of all time. So he must know a little something. But yeah, man, I got Steve Smith as a babyface. Now, has he done some things after the sport that might be a little questionable?
But at the same time, we've heard other athletes getting themselves involved in other predicaments who shall remain nameless.
I know, but let's face it. If it's true, You know,
Hey,
Steve.
we've
We'll just
had
say
Panthers
Steve. We'll just say
receivers
Steve
that
Smith
done
likes
way
to
worse.
boast about himself. We'll say Steve Smith likes to boast about himself a little bit. We'll say he likes to boast about himself a little bit. So that's another
Hey,
conversation for here nor there.
We've had Panthers receivers that have done way worse than
I
damn
mean,
Steve
oh yeah,
Smith.
absolutely, absolutely. Ray
I'm
Carew.
not gonna say no names, but you know what I'm talking about.
Ray
We've
Carew.
had wide receivers by the Carolina Panthers that have gotten way famous for a lot of dumbass reasons other than what Steve Smith did. So
Where's Steve Harvey? Where's Steve Harvey when you need him to make a joke
don't do
about
that.
that Panther wide
Don't do
receiver?
that. They gonna say no names. You're gonna get us kicked off the damn L. Stop. You're gonna get us kicked off the L. Don't have nobody come around here seeing about us later on.
we may not have the same type of attorney as Afro Man, so let's be careful now.
All I'm gonna say is hide and go seek.
You don't want to have nobody coming to see us. He just got out. So I don't really look. There's been a lot of wide receivers that have done way worse.
I know.
mean, look,
and that doesn't override him being a babyface one bit for me. He's still a babyface.
I mean, look, you going to get your groove on. I ain't finna get mad at you because of that, bro. That's just being real. I mean, look,
Well, you would have done the same thing.
No.
No.
No. Hey, bro, don't do that.
No.
Your ass would look at a beautiful woman like a nice piece of fried chicken.
We don't believe in thievery like that. That's a whole nother conversation.
Now, if you single, you free game, but
Yeah, I'm gonna say we don't believe in thievery. We don't believe in thievery like that. That was thievery.
Hey, I've been a victim of thievery, but I've tried not to. I've tried not to steal. So I have stolen, but that's another story for another day.
Thou shalt not. One of the commandments. Thou shalt not.
Thou shalt not. So we were. Everybody has thieved at one point in time, whether knowingly or unknowingly. So you have thieved at one point. Don't be lying.
Or you've thought about it, or you felt like you could at some point.
I mean, hey, don't evidence real. People do be lying. Mm-hmm. Hey, I really don't belong to this house, but come to find out, hey, you really in the house.
You really the head of the household, but that's another conversation.
Yeah, they'll tell you that to you on the baseball field in the bottom of the ninth. So I'm just being real. So they'll tell you that to you on the baseball field. So that's just how it goes.
The walk off.
Yeah, doing the walk
off. But you have him as a babyface champ.
I have him as babyface, man. I ain't got no look, man. People can say whatever they want to, bro. There's plenty of look. It's not like he went out there and committed a crime. I mean, and again, it takes two to tango, man. I'm not gonna blame it all on Steve Smith because you went out there and you did what you did. So, hey, it is what it is. Things happen, people happen, and I think I'm gonna just be real, man. Keep matters private. I don't know what the hell happened. But dudes be thinking it's just okay for you to just air out your dirty laundry on the damn internet like that, bro. That is not.
Well, I mean, there are a lot of. Well, I'm sorry, but Jada Pinkett Smith kind of gave people the forefront to go on the air and air out their dirty laundry.
Yeah, but look, I'm gonna just be real. People can call it a double standard.
No, I'm not. For the record, I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying, what do you gain or benefit from by airing out your dirty laundry?
Like I said, I'm not gonna say it's a double standard, but we as guys, we don't do that shit, man. You take an L, man, take that L in private, go out there and talk to Mr. Jack Daniels at the bar, call it a day. Don't be putting stuff on the internet because you make yourself look like a fool. I'm just gonna be real. There's plenty of times where you broke up with somebody and Jody came. There's plenty of time where Jody came to my house, and if you are an Army guy, you know exactly who Jody is. Well, he came to your house and stole some, and then guess what? You just got to eat the L. That's how come they tell you when you go to the Army, ain't no sense in looking back. Jody got your Cadillac. Ain't no sense in going home. Jody got your girl and gone. And he done got one of us at one point. And look, when Jody come to your house and start stealing, then guess what? Just go to the bar and have a drink, and then just let that be that. You ain't got to put it all on the internet, and try to ask somebody out. Like, so that's crazy. That's bad business. That's 5 and 8. So. But the competitor, I like the competitor in him, man. The competitor in him is second to none. He was small in stature, but his aura was as big as anything.
Huge.
I mean, there was two people in my lifetime that I hated playing when I when they came when they was in the division. There's two people in particular: Steve Smith and that damn Drew Brees.
Mm, facts.
Every time that I have went to the Georgia Dome and I have played and we have played Drew Brees, we've lost. So yeah, that's just it's crazy.
You
Steve
know
Smith,
what Steve Smith reminds me of so much? Believe it or not, Allen Iverson.
yeah,
Because the little guy, not the biggest guy in the world, but man, he is electric and he plays. And despite the size, his heart, his
yeah,
rage, the competitive. I love the sound FX when he's the videos of him saying, "When you see me, when you see this face, that means
That
I
mean I
score."
score.
Hmm.
yeah. He has the Heathcliff syndrome. What I like to call. Y'all ever heard of that cartoon Heathcliff?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, this the only
And
yeah, the only damn cat around there with a bunch of dogs. Like, what this cat doing out here with a bunch of dogs? He is a wide receiver. This dude think he a linebacker. So
and let's not forget his statement game against Carolina in his first year against with Baltimore.
yeah,
Yes.
make sure y'all mow my lawn on the way back.
You.
I mean, torch them. Hey man, look, spank them like a 2-year-old in Kmart, bro. That was crazy. So that was wild. I mean, you just can't ask for anything better than that. But
You can't.
Steve Smith, babyface, man. Like I said, man, people get their groove on every single day, man. Don't act like you ain't. Look, if you are lying, don't lie. Don't you can lie. Don't lie to us. Act like you ain't did it. So I mean, so and like I said, it takes two to tango. I mean, two people committed that crime, not just one. We're not gonna be doing no Malika Andrews bull jive around here, acting like that this dude just preyed upon somebody. No, you took yourself over there looking for a good time. You found yourself a good time. You went on back home and thought nobody was gonna notice that you got thieved on, and that's just how it went. So I
Well,
can't get
speaking
that.
of a certain individual that's having a good time, next person on for Babyface heel, Drewski.
Oh man, that's an undisputed baby right there, bro.
Are you
Hey,
just saying
bro.
that right now because again I just showed you the video of him playing ball with Angel Fernandez?
Well, even before that, man, Ruby Rose, man, you dating Ruby Rose. So, but, hey, man, hey, look, man, that's the advantages when you big and funny, man. The ladies come flock to you when you big and you're funny. You
I
know what I'm
still
saying?
laugh. I still laugh. Remember the NFL honors, the Jackson
Jackson
Smith
Jackson
Najimba
Smith.
or
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy. That was a fun. And Drewski is look, I know it's a bad, but the funniest skit that I ever seen him do is what's that skit? I'm trying to say it without saying it. Owned
The
by a black
NASCAR
man.
skit.
No,
I
owned
like
by
the
a black
NASCAR
man.
skit. Which one?
No, really, he was at this specific person's house and he had their robe on, walking around the damn mansion and every damn thing. And then he came, then he said, tequila, all by a black man. Don't buy it if I do. And then he started drinking, and then the dude who we talk about pulled up behind it. And then you thinking so bad about to happen, which when certain trials started happening, they went back to that picture and made him a meme. But yeah, I'll never forget. He said, "Oh, bye, black man." And then I remember the guy said, "You get too comfortable in my house right about to take my damn robe off." That is crazy as hell. You walk into somebody's house, put their damn robe on. Don't put my robe on. What the hell wrong with you? Drewski is one funny guy, man. I don't give a piss about that but the time. So
That yeah,
Drewski is one funny
that
guy.
whole
And
NASCAR skit just
hey, and look,
wow.
man.
I don't know if it's more cringy than the one with him and infamous music mogul.
Yeah, yeah,
You know what infamous music mogul I'm referring to.
yeah.
Oh,
That's what the whole when he went to his house and started drinking all the shit and doing all that. So, man, Drewski, it's so look. What I like to see, man, is all of these content creators during COVID that I was watching. It's good to see uh Kai. It's good to see Speed. It's good to see Drewski. It's good to see all these content creators who kept us entertained during COVID. Now they at the big time. It's good to see them. And I cannot wait till I see and a lot of guys who we know who was entertaining us during COVID, who we were very, very close to. Trent.
Yeah.
Is at the combine right now. Just interviewed Darius Slay.
Yeah, on his podcast. Yeah. Now, him, Kobe, Donnie, Maddie, shout out to the group. They do a great job. I mean, yeah, Trent's big time. And also shout out to his big brother Trey as well, too.
Yeah,
I mean, who knows his football?
Mm-hmm. Down there in Florida. And big shout out to everybody. I mean, PSP, he's on the big time scale. A lot of guys who
well, not yet. Hopefully, sooner or later, if we can try to bring some celebrities. But Drewski, I mean, he kind of reminds me in some way like Champ though, with the humor. I mean, I'm sorry, Champ. I mean, it's not because he big and all, but also he hilarious. And plus, when you a big dude, and when you funny and charismatic, and when you find a way to entertain the women, hey, you take it as a compliment.
Yeah, man. Look, man. The key is, man, everybody loves to laugh. Everybody loves to be comfortable. So, man, when you can make people laugh at the expense of yourself or despite yourself, I mean, you can liven up the party a little bit, man. Shout out to the terrific three, what I like to call them. It's me, my guy Calvin, and my boy Josh. There was we was the life of the party in the Wolf Pack. So me and those two guys, man, it was a written rule that we couldn't go to parties by ourselves because we knew we was gonna take over the party, get everybody live. So that was a time, it was a day and time. But Drewski is an undisputed babyface, man. And these days, people are gonna find a way to get you canceled, and I think that's a coup that everybody likes to run. Let's see who we can get canceled this week by bitching and moaning about something. So Drewski is a funny guy. He's gonna entertain. We've seen work being said on certain reward shows. So let it go, man. Like I said, everybody want to get canceled. Everybody want to cancel about all of a sudden. Hell, remember they tried to cancel him because he was impersonating some of the black fraternities when he was impersonating the Q Dogs. He was impersonating the Q Dogs, and dudes getting online, getting all this kind of things about it. Man, bro, everybody get made fun of. That's why it's comedy. Comedy. That I am here to entertain you. So if you're gonna get offended by it, you might well not even watch nothing. So Drewski, undisputed babyface. Hey man, look. Hey, remember what George Sanders said? Fine, funny. She made sure she included that. Fine, funny,
fucking money.
Exactly. So, hey, when you're batting 1,000, you're batting 1,000. Shout out to Drewski.
Well, Drewski has a better chance of hitting Joy Taylor than Jason Whitlock, but that's a story for another day.
For another day, bro. But
hey. Hey, I'm sorry, but
why you?
You brought up Joy Taylor, fine, funny, and fucking money.
What does have to do with that, though, bro?
That peanut butter skin. Look,
man, I'm not going.
That's the only time you ever agree with Jason Whitlock. The only time you ever agree with Jason Whitlock when he mentioned Joy Taylor and that peanut butter skin, and you said that peanut butter skin that sure look good.
I use that shit when I'm talking to girls right now. You know what I'm saying? So, that peanut butter. I made videos about Joy Taylor and Nia Jax when that came out. But yeah, I mean, look, man.
Throw some chocolate in the mix between Joy Taylor and Nia Jax, and you get yourself a Snickers.
Hey, man, it's gonna be a good night. But anyway, that's a whole other story for a whole nother day, man. PSP, you go trying to have your own little moments here, but I see where this is going. But yeah. Man, Drewski, man.
I mean, if you're wondering why I'm pressing you, the great D always wants to get the humor side of champ. So
So, hey man,
D
look,
sends you some hilarious videos from time
yes,
to
she
time.
has. Yes, she has, man, and she is funny as hell herself. So, shout out to Mrs. New York City, the Queen of New York, Miss D. So, yeah, so she's cool as hell. But yeah, man. Hey, look, Drewski, my guy, keep doing what you're doing, man. Keep making them laugh. Keep making them laugh, man. Cause, hey, man, that's what everybody wants to feel comfortable at the end of the day. I don't take myself too serious because I make my people laugh. And guess what, man? That invites people in. Joy, nothing invites people in more than joy.
That
Nothing
is true,
invites
though.
people in more than joy. When you're joyful, you're always in a good mood and you're always in this upbeat mood, man. Everybody loves to be around that, man. So I made sure that even when I was at peak shape, when I was boxing, I made sure I was, make sure you invite people in, man. Ain't nothing like a good joke to take people mind off stuff. Sending somebody a good reel. You'll be surprised what a reel would do for somebody as far as when they having a bad day is concerned, man. So, so hey, Drewski, keep doing your thing, man.
BRF.
Yeah, Drewski's an undisputed babyface for me too. He's like not and he I brought it up. He had the one little skit where he dressed up in all the get up. If you want to call it the redneck get up when he went to the NASCAR race, and they folks were mad about that. I thought that was hilarious. The one where he was the mega church skit where he was hanging up in the rafters, he was coming down, and he had all the little pyro and the music going, and they were trying to get mad at him. But this, I think, this generation has forgotten as far as like what comedy is and what it brings to the table and what it's supposed to do as far as like being kind of like a getaway from the hardships and everything that the real world and what life can bring. Comedy is supposed to be like a getaway. Comedy is supposed to be like a relaxation period where you can just laugh at certain things. Because I feel like a lot of people don't want to laugh at stuff nowadays. I understand there's limitations and there's boundaries you don't want to cross, but at the same time, there are some things that we should be able to laugh at as a society. And Drewski's been one of the best examples of that. One of my favorite videos is like because Drewski being basically like a streamer, being it's him and Kevin Hart and Kai Cenat, and it's basically the video where it was like one joke after another joke after another joke after another joke, and they were just roasting Drewski. They were just roasting Drewski like. Drew. It was what was it? Some of the jokes was like Drewski was getting a gift as being DoorDash's top player and stuff like that, and there was like what was the I don't know if I should say this one, but it was like one of the funniest things I've ever heard. I'm scared
That
to
phone
say
called a Ruby Road.
No, it was like the way Drewski was looking at one point during the video, he had his face kind of scrunched up, and you could kind of see the lines in the middle of in between his eyes and his nose. And somebody was like, Drewski, I'm scared to say it. Should I say it?
Go ahead.
And one of the viewers had like kind of donate. They donate to tell the joke, and they donated, and they was like Drewski looking like he's got a nutsack in the middle of his forehead.
This is why we call ourselves the highlight of Friday nights. This is why we bring entertainment for a reason.
Because
this is why we love doing whatever we want to do, and we are totally going to be unapologetic and not give a fuck.
And trust me, if y'all saw the video and y'all saw how he had his face scrunched up, it was like a little line right there. Like, it was perfect. And I'm talking about, they were reeling off all type of jokes. They said this man had a face like Voldemort. What else did they say? They said It was one more that like, oh my gosh, I'm trying to remember. Oh my gosh, I mean they would light him up. I mean, it was just so it was so bad. But that's one thing you have to respect. The great comedians. Not only are they scared to tell the jokes, but they're not scared to take it back because they know they can give you back what you give to them. And I think that's what make the great comedians great. And Drewski is like a prime example of that as far as like this day and age and this generation. So he's definitely a babyface. Shout out to him because he I mean and he's everywhere. Like he's doing so much now. He's doing commercials and all this other stuff, man. Shout out to him. He's building a brand and shout like just coming from where he was to where he's at now. Shout out to him, man. You can only root for guys like that who are trying to build a brand and make a name for themselves. Because ultimately, us being podcasters, us trying to get out in the scene as far as where we are today, we ultimately want recognition and we want to get some notoriety and be famous and stuff like that. We want some things for ourselves. We ain't gonna, y'all. Let me tell you something. As much as we love what we do, there's an end game for this. We have goals. We have places where we want to get to ultimately one day. So I mean, you look at a guy like Drewski, you respect that and you shout him out. So, but yeah, man, he's most definitely a
He's
babyface
relatable because we
yeah,
look at
he's
him as one of
extremely
us.
exactly extremely relatable. We look at a guy like Drewski and it's just like, man, he came from the bottom and look, he's right there. We want to get to where he's at. Extremely relatable, and those are the people you get behind at the end of the day, and that's the people you root for. So shout out to him. Yeah, he's definitely a babyface.
All right, this one, he's my GOAT, Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Babyface. I don't.
Only reason why I was kind of reluctant, champ, because they'll bring up the DV incident with Steve back in 2002. But outside of that, babyface. This is a dude who revolutionized wrestling in in the 90s. He was the top guy. You've often said it before, champ. You were a big WCW guy, but
Yeah.
you transitioned to WWE because of Stone Cold.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I've said before, he's my GOAT. You can argue Cena, got no problem. Taker, got no problem. Hulk Hogan, got no problem. Shawn Michaels, whoever it is, but I give Steve or Ric Flair, as you mentioned, champ. I give Steve the edge as far as GOAT because, and even Ric Flair said it himself, he considers Steve as his GOAT because of what Steve was able to do for WWE in the late 90s, even though it was only for like 5 years. But to go from where he was, kind of like with Cena, because Stone Cold Steve Austin, when he started off as Stunning Steve Austin in WCW. Then the tag team between he and Rest His Soul, Brian Pillman. Eric Bischoff fired him in 1995, and this is after he came back from Japan after he suffered a torn tricep. Best thing that ever happened to Steve, him going to ECW with the great Paul Heyman. Paul E. finally allowing somebody to express themselves in a way that at the time maybe they couldn't. And he felt that Steve would be the type of person who can do it because Steve was tremendous on the mic skills. I mean, Stone Cold Steve Austin, I can't say there's one promo in which he did say about Stephanie McMahon back in 2005. It's offensive, but I cannot say it. You know the one that I'm referring to, champ. I'm not going to use that one. But Steve with the mic skills. Of course, Austin 316, the promo, how he came up with the character after watching Richard Kuklinski, the Iceman. For those who may not know, he was a member of the Mafia, cold-blooded, remorseless. Steve looked at the character and he felt like this was the type of guy to build Stone Cold Steve Austin. Then his ex-wife came up with the nickname for him after making him a cup of tea. And she told him, hey, drink it before it gets stone cold. Of course, the rivalry between he and Mr. McMahon in the 90s. You mentioned, champ, one of the things that led to the Attitude Movement was the WrestleMania 13 match between he and Bret the Hitman Hart. His t-shirts, for those who may not know, it's still one of the highest selling t-shirts, the Austin 316 ones, still
And he
to this day, and his impact. Mm-hmm.
and he ain't wrestling damn near 20 years.
So that tells you how much he means to the wrestling business and how much he means to wrestling. And he was able to cross over because you saw Steve on Celebrity Deathmatch. You saw Steve on cartoons. You saw Steve on Regis, Rest of the Soul Regis show, Regis Philbin. You saw Steve able to do interviews with Howard Stern. Steve was able to cross over. And then, of course, he and The Rock, the rivalry as well. So when I look at Steve as a babyface, and for him to still have the success now because he's got his own beer thing.
Mm-hmm.
And when that glass breaks, champ, I know last year WrestleMania, it didn't work out well. I think it had more to do with the fact that it was Vegas. But outside of Vegas, if he went to someplace in the South or somewhere diehard wrestling fans go to, and if you hear that glass break, it's gonna be ecstatic. But Steve, I view him as a babyface because he was the type of person you can relate to. He's the type of person you can go out and have a bar, go to a bar, have a drink with, and you envy. Because a lot of times our bosses ain't the easiest to deal with. A lot of times our bosses, heck, let's be honest, have treated us like shit from time to time. And Steve was the type of person who was like, F that, F F the boss, F what they told us to do, that type of stuff. Steve's our type of guy. F anti-authority. Steve was rebellious. He was a maverick. He wanted to do things his way, and it gravitated to a lot of people. So for me, I say babyface.
Babyface, man. That's the guy to say babyface. Look, everybody makes mistakes. I'll say that much. And I'll leave that at that. Stone Cold, he's very, very outspoken, not just in the
Also, too, outspoken to the
in,
LGBTQ community. Yeah.
in the political, in the political area arena. That's what I was about to get ready to say. Um,
Great minds
there's
think
a lot
alike.
of- yes, indeed. That's why I call you the New Jersey Genius. But Stone Cold, man, like you stated earlier, I was a big time WCW guy. Love WCW. And I never forget one of my good friends in in elementary school. He's like, "Hey man, what wrestling do you watch?" I said, "I watch WCW." He said, "Man, look, trust me, man. I want you to turn over when it's a commercial or something. Watch Stone Cold." I said, "Who?" I'm like, "Who the hell is Stone Cold?" I said, "Hey man." He said, "Trust me, you'll love it." He said, and he told me that, and I turned it one night. I turned it over and watched. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then, next thing you know, you start watching WCW less and less and less and less to the point where hey, I stopped watching WCW completely. I think by the time 1999 got here, I was done with WCW. I was already watching WWE, just being honest. That was because of Stone Cold, you know. Now, don't get me wrong, you'll flip it on WWE, see what's going on, then you'll flip it back over. But for the most part, I was watching WCW. Harlem Heat, the tag team division. The Luchadors,
Yes.
cruiserweights. Those knockdown drag out matches. Chris Jericho, the Big Show when he was part of the Dungeon of Doom, and the NWO. But once one of my friends told me about Stone Cold, and I want to watch more and more Stone Cold. Stone Cold's an undisputed babyface, man. Undisputed. Carried the wrestling industry on his shoulders for years. And you got to think about this. His ascension, he was one of the sole reasons for the ascension. Remember, during the years, I would say WrestleMania 12 on back. Yes, I'm that old. I remember WrestleMania 12. It was Iron Man match. WrestleMania 12 on back, you had moments. You've had moments. I think WrestleMania 13, up until that point, after the Iron Man match, that was a point where the entire card was great. And
Yeah.
it was due to that triple main event. Remember, that triple main event was great. You had the Road Warriors and Ahmed Johnson versus the Nation of Domination in the Chicago Street Fight. You had the submission match between Stone Cold and Bret Hart and Sid, Psycho Sid, rest in peace, versus The Undertaker for the WWE title. That was one of the best triple main events that you ever want to see. All of the matches were good. All of the matches had great storyline. And that was just shifting into the Attitude Era. And although the Generation X was a big part of shifting into the Attitude Era, Stone Cold, even Triple H admitted, we was more on the Stone Cold train, although the DX train was pretty good. Stone Cold was blue collar. It was a lot of forbiddenness. Everybody wanted to give somebody the finger at one point.
He was that one.
Everybody wanted to take a hey man, look. I have not met a Southerner, whether you're black, white, or whoever, that don't enjoy a cold beer after work.
That's a fact.
I have not met a Southerner yet that does not enjoy a cold beer after work, especially if they work on Saturday. Blue collar, he was, whether you was white or black, he was relatable. Hardworking guy. I'm working my ass off. Here come this asshole walking into my lane, always getting in my way. Here's my boss. And he's trying to put somebody over me in the form of The Rock. Then he can't do that. He tries to choose, well, even before The Rock, he tried to choose Dude Love to be the corporate champion. Then he tries to choose The Rock. Then, if that ain't bad enough, you pick the biggest dude in the industry. Here comes the damn Undertaker. And then when you can't stop me with those guys, you bring a whole army with the corporation and then the corporate ministry, and I still overcome you in every single way.
Let's not forget Triple H, and of course that big match he had, the 3 Stages of Hell.
Yes, that was one of the most greatest matches in the history of the WWE. I mean, I'll never forget 2001. There were so many great matches that year, but that match still made match of the year. That 3 Stages of Hell. Granted, you don't even realize that match happened in February,
a month before WrestleMania 17.
That happened a month before WrestleMania, and that still was match of the year. Stone Cold, a lot of good knockdown, drag out matches. The submission match, the 3 Stages of Hell match, the triple threat match between him, Chris Jericho, and Chris Benoit. They had a knockdown, drag out match. Remember the Buried Alive match between him and the Undertaker at Rock Bottom. Remember
the first blood.
The first blood, both of
them. Fully loaded, 99.
Yeah. The end of an era match. The very next night, good old JR. We're gonna get something started here. A little no.
Oh hell yeah!
No.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Him bringing Vince McMahon back to the WWE just a year later because Triple H was just tumultuous and just held a scale. Him bringing him back less than a year later. So, that was a good time in wrestling, and I don't think wrestling is good now. These guys are a lot more athletic. They are a lot more accessible. But I don't think we'll see wrestling that so every week. And look, you got to attribute it to the Monday Night Wars. When you have competition, you're at your best. I remember people don't remember this. Look, people make a big deal about a title change now on national television, right? Right, BRF? They make a big deal out of it. Right? They make a big deal.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
But look, I remember distinctly, you could turn it on Monday Night Raw and see a Hell in a Cell match. I remember there was a time that you could turn to SmackDown and see a casket match. We even saw an Inferno match live on Raw. between the Undertaker and Kane. So back then,
Exactly.
wrestling was at its best because they was gonna do something in order to make you watch. Damn, the Harlem Heat and the Road Warriors are going head to head for the tag team titles. Do I really want to watch that, or do I want to see the Undertaker versus Kane in this Inferno match that I've only saw one time on pay-per-view? So yeah, there was a lot of competition then, and Stone Cold was at the forefront of that. And Stone Cold, The Rock, Austin, China, all of them, they were able to make wrestling a happening. If you really look at Stone Cold and The Rock, they were the Bird and Magic to the Attitude Era. They brought it
They were.
they brought it back to the stratosphere. Wrestling was good in the new generation. It was more athletic, but people view the new generation era as the lost era because everybody who had watched in the golden era, they had turned away for a little bit. It wasn't as big. The salaries wasn't big. The arenas wasn't big. Stone Cold and The Rock came along. That rivalry, including Vince McMahon. Like I said, they're the magic and bird of wrestling. And guess what? I had the distinct pleasure of seeing them rock the house on every pay per view. Seeing them rock the house on Backlash, seeing them rock the house on WrestleMania, Rock Bottom, and halftime heat. Seeing the Rock, yeah, it was the Rock and Stone Cold Steve Austin was the Bird and Magic of the WWE during the Attitude Era. The same way that Bird and Magic was able to bring back basketball viewers in the 80s that had fell off in the 60s, that had fell off from the 60s with Brooke the Stilt and God rest his soul, Bill Russell. That's what they did for wrestling in the 90s, in the early 2000s. They brought back the feel to it, made it a happening, made it cool to be a wrestling fan. And look, let's just keep it real. Before the Attitude Era, if you said that you was a huge wrestling fan, if you wasn't down from the deep south somewhere, especially if you went to the schools like I went to, people will laugh you out that damn building. You're a WWE fan. How can you watch that F stuff? You know what they call wrestlers. They call them the F guys. You know, but as we all know a wrestler in the form of the great Louise, we all know that it is not fake. It is not fake. Those injuries and those bumps are real. And
Yeah, just ask Jim Cornette. He said it best. They can be choreographed, predetermined, orchestrated. One thing about it for sure, it ain't
hey,
fake.
it is not fake. So yeah, it brought it back that feeling.
And speaking of which, champ, if people think it's fake, go look at Steve at SummerSlam '97. That neck injury he suffered.
Not just that. Look at Mick Foley. Remember
Yeah,
the real reason that Mick Foley retired during that 2000 Hell in the Cell match between him and Triple H was he went to Vince and told him, and he's like, Vince asked him, "How's your head?" He said, "Well, do you remember what we talked about yesterday?" He was like, "No, what did we talk yesterday?" He said, "Yeah, your ass is finna retire right now because you're having trouble remembering stuff. So we're not finna go through this." So
well, it
yeah,
wasn't. Well, not just because of that. Also, too, champ, his family, his wife and his kids. Remember, there was some type of documentary they were on, and
beyond the
the
map,
chair
Beyond the
shots.
map.
beyond
Yeah,
the map.
remember the chair shots that he took from the Royal Rumble against The Rock.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, those kids were screaming in the crowd. I had to turn the TV off. I'm like, ooh, I ain't think about that through their perspective.
Yeah,
He was telling them to close their eyes and stuff like that. That was a real crazy situation. But I'll say this, Mick Foley, thank you. Um, Stone Cold, Rock, those guys, thank you. Y'all made my childhood great. And hey, Stone Cold undisputed babyface, man. Like I said, him and The Rock is to wrestling what Larry and Magic was to the NBA.
I was. If you're gonna use sports analogy, not just Larry Bird, Ali Frazier,
Yep, Ali Frazier.
BRF.
Easily Stone Cold Steve Austin's a babyface. The reason, and I love Ric Flair's reasoning for why he considers Stone Cold the GOAT. it's in terms of like making money and like being the face of like the biggest boom period in the history of the sport. It was Stone Cold Steve Austin. Was the peak that long? No, but the peak was so transcendent in terms of what it did for the sport. I got no. Stone Cold Steve Austin being considered the GOAT. I ain't got no problem with that. Honestly, it's probably the most logical choice. I mean, I have seen him, but that's for other reasons. But you also have to. But there's a multitude of reasons as far as like why you may have someone as your GOAT in ring performance. Like who did what in terms of box office for the sport? Like just flat out being, flat out. Even you can talk about it being predetermined all you want to. I look at John Cena from a standpoint of reinventing himself enough to keep himself relevant, even though he didn't change his character all that much, but yet maintaining a level of relevance over a period of time that we really had never seen. So, but Stone Cold Steve Austin, so many memories, so many moments, so many great matches. Because we remember him from his WCW days. We remember how technically sound of a wrestler he was in WCW. The matches he had with Ricky Steamboat, like just being one of those workhorse guys in WCW, making the United States Heavyweight Championship, the World Television Championship, two of the more prestigious championships in the whole sport. Not even being your world title, but just being those championships that workhorse guys, that work rate guys would go at because you knew if you won those, they were ultimately a step in the right direction as far as wanting to be the WCW World Heavyweight Champion at the time, which honestly, in my opinion, is still the prettiest belt in the history of wrestling. Not the WWE's version of the World Heavyweight Championship, the NWA slash WCW's version of that World Heavyweight Championship belt. To me, is the most gorgeous belt in the history of the sport, and still remains to this day. That is a gorgeous, gorgeous belt, and I'm telling you, I'm telling you, I get the money to acquire that bad boy and put it somewhere. I'm acquiring that one. That is the first belt I want to get on my nightstand at some point. Um, but yeah, like even after the SummerSlam neck injury with Owen Hart, and he came and then he came back, the matches he was able to put on. Champ brought up three stages of hell with Triple H. I mean, you look at all the main events with The Rock. All of the main events with The Rock were amazing. You look at his rivalry with Mick Foley, whether it was Mankind, whether it was Dude Love. You look at the entirety of the Triple H rivalry, with Triple H being the one that ultimately got him set up to get hit, even though it was a write off because he was having neck surgery at the time. But just the chemistry they had in the ring, even though they weren't necessarily having like, even though they weren't, oh, good lord, one of the greatest segments in the history of wrestling, the SmackDown Booker T segment in the supermarket. Come on, man, price check on the jackass. I mean, nothing. I mean,
Do you have any Grey Poupon?
Right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Just classic stuff. And then of course, like the promos. Steve Austin being one of the great mic workers in the history of the sport. The Austin 316 promo, the infamous What promo before Royal Rumble 2002. Like so just so many things that he was able to do. So not even a question in my mind. Stone Cold Steve Austin is definitely a babyface and arguably the biggest babyface ever.
Him and Cena, I think so. Him and Cena as far as biggest baby face, but no doubt about it. And also too, the beer truck. Remember before WrestleMania, him driving the beer truck, and then of course we can't forget the Zamboni incident, or him playing Dr. Austin and beating the shit out of Vince McMahon and hitting him in the bed, hitting him with a steel pan.
The DX Express when he blew the bus up.
Mm-hmm. Or him, I can't. What's that machine that Steve was riding at the time? He was trying to run over Mr. McMahon with. I think.
I think you're talking. I mean, I know there was the concrete truck incident where he blew the car up, but blew the windows up out of the car. What are you thinking? Are you thinking about the monster truck?
I think so, something like that.
Mm.
But him and McMahon, the rivalry, iconic, and of course the reason why I brought up Steve, not just because it's my goal. A few days ago, it was 316, of course, Austin 316. But he was a pioneer, and the thing with Steve, he was so huge. you didn't have to be a diehard wrestling fan to know who Stone Cold Steve Austin was. And then, of course, to your point, champ, on a serious note, you brought up the LGBTQ. That was actually shocking for Steve to actually say that because, again, Steve from Texas, but Steve, no, actually, and he's been actually aware to social issues. Remember how he talked about someone? Remember how he condemned someone for supporting the Confederate flag?
Yeah.
Yeah. So give kudos to Steve on that one. But yeah, absolute baby face. Absolute baby face. But speaking of another baby face, favorite Queen Latifah moment. I mean, of course, her music, ladies first, obviously. Happy Women's Month. But I love the show Living Single. That show in the 90s. Of course, we love Martin. Obviously, Martin to me was the show for all black sitcoms. But the 90s, we had hella sitcoms, black sitcoms. Martin, Living Single, The Fresh Prince, The Wayans Brothers, Sister Sister, Smart Guy, Malcolm and Eddie, Sparks, Moesha, and then in the early 2000s, Girlfriends, Half and Half, One on One. I mean, let's just be honest. Living Single was a better show than Friends. It was. It was just a better.
Friends stole the idea.
I like Friends. Friends is a good show. Don't get me wrong. I like Friends. But Living Single was just a better show. It just had a lot more flavor. Just had a lot more style to the show. Queen Latifah, I gotta admit this because I was contemplating this. I love me some big women. I love her, Monique, Miss Pat. I have absolute love for the big women, not only because they're attractive and they're beautiful, but they're strong. They're determined. And Queen Latifah, what I love about her, very eloquent, outspoken. I think she's a part of the LGBTQ community. I think.
Yeah, I had a crush on Queen Latifah, man. That broke my
Yeah.
heart when I found that out, man. Because I'm like, I said, I was no, because I'm literally, as Ace will tell you, a sister will tell you, I used to love Queen Latifah. I had a post, I said, one day I'm going to marry Queen Latifah. She came out, I was like, that hurts. But,
But
yeah,
but beautiful woman. Love her. Love her rap style. Um, Funny too. I love watching the movie Beauty Shop. I love the topic, the clip on Barbershop 2, back in business. Her confronting Eddie, the character portrayed by Cedric the Entertainer. Remember when Eddie snatched the food out of Gina's niece's plate out of her
yeah.
hand? So yeah, so that was one of my favorite moments from Queen Latifah. But Bringing Down the House, that movie with her and Steve Martin, I love
Yeah.
that one. Joyful Noise, The Secret Life of Bees, there was her, Alicia Keys, Dakota Fanning. I like that one. I just love Queen Latifah, an inspiration to women. And like I said, with the big woman, man, she made a big woman sexy and attractive. I mean, she was on the cover of CoverGirl.
Yeah. I mean, was in the commercials and
Yeah,
everything. And look, let's just be real. She had that homegirl flavor to her, but she was fun to be around. And she was also, it's something about that around the way fillet, what I used to call it. She could make you feel like a homegirl, and then she could draw you in like she is your lover. You know what I'm saying? So Queen Latifah, I think my favorite movie, and I just go ahead and put this out there, man. Don't make fun of me when I say this. I think my favorite movie by Queen Latifah is Just Right. I think Just Right was one of my favorite movies by Queen Latifah. So
no, that was a good movie. Her
yes,
in
it
Common,
was.
yeah.
Yeah, her and Common. I think that was one of my favorites. It was a little lovey dovey movie, but but I love that movie, man. Just Right was always one of my favorite movies. 'Cause, uh, I really think one of my greatest moments, man, I never forget. I was about to get stationed in New Jersey in a certain fort. So the first thing I did is I went and played the New Jersey Drive uh CD, and I played that on the plane up there. And every once in a while I reminisce about that moment and I put that on my story. I can't forget New Jersey by Queen Latifah. So, and she was real hard representing Queen Latifah. I don't think people understand this, man. Back in them days, it wasn't like it is now. She had to work for hers. She really had to work for hers. You just couldn't be, and this is no disrespect to any of the ladies now, but you just couldn't be good eye candy. You had to know how to spit so they could put you on the same level with a lot of the guys that you were competing against. And for you to not only have a record, but a record label back then, Flavor Unit Records, that was something to be said back then. I think the most iconic role that she played was Cleo.
Yep.
That's a classic. I mean, that was a classic. That will be forever a classic. Set It Off will be forever a classic within the community, man. I never forget when that came to theaters. The theater was right down the street. Everybody was walking in order to see that movie. Queen Latifah is definitely an icon. If you really, to me personally, she's the greatest women's rapper of all time. If you ask me, she had the appeal. She was the female version of Will Smith.
That's fair to say because again, like a lot of modern female rappers and even some back then, she wasn't like she was more classy. Because remember last week when we talked about Angela Bassett being classy, you compared her to Michelle Obama. That's a good analogy because again, she didn't had to be sexy by showing off all her breasts and all that other stuff. She didn't have to have the physique or the look,
Yeah,
but she knew how to spit.
yeah. She knew how to spit, and she could out rap some dudes. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Back then, you had to be able to out rap dudes. You just couldn't, sell certain features. You had to be able to. Somebody had to be able to say, "I believe that you could out rap some of the greatest of all time." When it came to the dude side, and for her to have her own record label, for her to have movie deals, like I said, she was the female version of Will Smith. When her movies would come out, people would flock to go see him. People would flock to go see him. When she would have an album out, people would flock to go see him. When she would have a show that would come out, people would flock to go see him. When she had her talk show out, when she had a talk show out, when she kind of when the talk show era was kind of out, when shows like
Yeah,
Louis,
on CBS.
yeah, yeah. When
Yeah.
she had that show, everybody wanted to watch because it was Queen Latifah. She was the female version of Will Smith during that time. In fact, she was on the Fresh Prince at one point. She was a guest on Fresh Prince at one point. So for her to be that big of a crossover star, I think in the '90s, the three biggest crossover stars that crossed over for the masses that was able to be in movies, that was able to be in TV shows. I'll say four. It was Tupac, her, LL, and Will Smith. Those were the top crossover stars. They crossed over well with the masses. They crossed over real good. And like I said, she could spit. And her talent overshadowed everything that you could possibly have. That in back then wasn't no dirt sheets, but you know, even now, I think if she would have came out now, people would enjoy it a hell of a lot more because, like I said, you could put her in a freestyle battle, and she could out rap dudes. Not to mention, look, I think one of the ways why I always say she was kind of like the homegirl of the group. Remember when you had the celebrities versus the pros on MTV, and she stole the ball from Sean Kemp and jacked up a three? I think that was cool. She was like that homegirl that was cool but sexy at the same time. it was fun to be around her. It was cool to be around her, but she also was a woman in her own after her own heart. And that's what I loved about Queen Latifah. She was that homegirl that was so cool. And sometimes she's cooler than some of your homeboys. You know, she could relate to a lot of the guys, but at the same time, she was an elegant and classy woman, and you knew not to bring any nonsense around. If you really want me to be honest with you, if you want to know the difference between rap then for the female genre to now, I just go how far we've come from UNITY, because that was an anthem for speaking out against DV, speaking out against calling women out of their name, that was speaking against that type of behavior, that was speaking on, yeah, I might be a woman out here in a man's game, but respect is the bare minimum, and you will respect me. We went from that to some of the stupid shit you see nowadays. So that's
Mm-hmm.
how far we've come from that. And people can talk about respectability politics. I would rather be respected than liked, or respected than loved. If you ever notice, people always say you always hurt the one you love. You ain't never heard nobody putting no bullshit on nobody that they respect because they know
Exactly.
they weren't having it.
Right. Exactly.
You know, so you ain't never heard nobody say you always hurt the one you respect. You always hear you always hurt the one. No, you don't pull that crap with people who you respect. So that's what I loved about Queen Latifah. She was that homeboy that was she was that homegirl that was so relatable. She was a woman at her own right. But also she commanded respect like no other female rapper I have ever seen. She commanded respect on the set, in the boardroom, or wherever she went. And that was why I loved Queen Latifah. Like I said, I still love Queen Latifah. But if when I was a young kid, when I was playing football, I said that I was gonna grow up and marry Queen Latifah. So when she came out, I was like, I can't marry Queen Latifah now. That hurts. So yeah, but I still love Queen Latifah. Man. Like I said, I love Queen Latifah. Yeah.
BRF.
Hmm. So many, yeah, so many, like so many highlights of that woman's career, everything she's done. Like, hey, Champ brought up UNITY. That's still to this day one of my favorite. Still one of my favorite rap songs to this day. Just her crossover ability. Just whoa, wow. We good?
So, sorry, guys, it's my microphone.
No,
My
let me go ahead
fault.
and come back in. I think that's me.
All right. But yeah, just
Go ahead, BRF.
yeah, it just everything that she brought to the table, whether it was her movies, I mean, easily her most iconic role for me is Cleo. It set it off. I mean, just the way she commanded the spotlight, commanded the camera in that movie, just power, just strength and power, and just everything about that role that made her who she was to set it off. Just Cleo, just kind of, it was just like I mean, like you had Jada Pinkett, you had Kimberly Elise, you had Vivica Fox, and they all played out their old roles, and they were all amazing. But it was just something about Queen Latifah's role, even in the end, in the scene where she was where she was killed, and just so much about her just really let you know that she was here to play as an actress, and you knew she just wasn't going to go anywhere. But yeah, like. I mean, Just Right was a really good movie. It's actually a movie I did not think I would like personally, but I watched it, and you know what, I got into it, and I enjoyed it. But yeah, bringing down
I also
the
liked it
house.
because of Paula Patton. Paula Patton was looking good in that movie.
Of
Pam
course,
Grier,
of
man.
course.
Don't forget about
You
Pam Grier.
yeah, like most definitely. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't go wrong with looking at any of them. Heck, Pam Grier is still in her 70s, and you still can't go wrong with looking at Pam Grier. So I mean, come on, man, that's a whole new level of beauty and icon right there when you mention Pam Grier. So yeah, bringing down the house was like an underrated, funny movie. Gosh, what else is there?
And to work with someone like Steve Martin, because you would think, how would Queen Latifah and Steve Martin work together? But nah, it actually
chemistry was
panned
there.
out. And then, of course, Beauty Shop.
Yes, yeah, beauty shop. Yeah,
Beauty
beauty
Shop was
shop
good
was
though.
yeah.
Equalizer.
So like I thoroughly enjoyed that movie. Her and Andy McDowell, Alicia Silverstone. I mean, just that movie. That was a really good movie. And she was, like I said, when you got somebody like Queen Latifah who could come in and just take the lead from the jump, it's just one of those where you know the movie's going to be good. You know the movie's going to be enjoyable. But I with Queen Latifah though, and then like her TV stuff, especially The Equalizer. I love The Equalizer. Just her being able to show range like that when you didn't really get to see her much in action roles like that. To see her in something like The Equalizer, it was just something different and new. And seeing range like that, I mean, like I said, I like actors that can display range. To me, are always going to be the ones that have the most longevity because you can put them in anything, and they're gonna be able to make that happen. So like, just shout out to Queen Latifah and just so many amazing things. We could talk about her all night, but I mean, y'all kind of nailed pretty much everything as far as like everything she's done and like the iconic moments and all the amazing movies and music and stuff that she's done, and even that comeback like in the late '90s where she was coming back and making music and making good music at that. So I mean, there's really nothing that woman can't do.
Man, like I said, Champ ain't the only one who wasn't who was attracted to Queen Latifah. I was too. I just think
Absolutely.
for big women, I'm sorry, I love me some big women, and for Queen Latifah at that time when she was on the cover of CoverGirl, she was attractive, and she just gave hope for big women, letting them know, hey, you ain't have to be 5'5", 5'6", a buck 20, a buck 30. You can be big, but you can be beautiful. You can have personality, and that's what I love about her. I love about her, Monique, especially Miss Pat. I just love the big women who bring that type of style and personality, and she definitely brought that to the forefront. And what she means for women, man, and especially for the LGBTQ communities. So, big ups to Queen Latifah, fellas. One last topic: favorite Jamie Foxx track. Infatuation.
The Stevie Willie Beeman count.
Infatuation. I love that. Yeah.
I'm just asking.
My name is Steeman Willie Beeman.
But Infatuation. Remember, Sexy Red had to sample the song from Jamie Foxx, the one with her and Drake.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But Jamie Foxx, man, a tremendous entertainer. He could sing, he can act, great impersonations. The thing I think I got Champ laughing the most is when I brought up that Jamie Foxx on the Jamie Foxx show. Remember when he impersonated the late great D'Angelo?
Yeah, that was. Yeah, I don't think that made me laugh so much as when Nessa and JoJo Child did it when they asked you to do the damn thing. That was the funniest.
Yeah.
For the record, no, I am not doing that shit. So you ain't getting me to do that. Nobody's gonna see Sports PSP's cookies for nothing. So no.
They go snatch out the $100 bills and put them in.
Boy, shout out to Nessa.
Listen,
Shout out to Nessa and JoJo.
unless if I'm on OnlyFans, unless if I was an OnlyFans type of person, I mean, I'm not showing my goodies for nothing. So no, I ain't doing that shit.
Yeah, you ain't gonna be walking around here like Ric Flair is.
Rick Flip
No,
drip go
especially not that
woo on a
plane
beat.
ride from hell situation.
He walk around here with the robe and the Versace slippers.
No, boy, no. Shout out to those two. Shout out to John and Trail. I made a little surprise appearance on Sports for You Wrestling this past week, man. They are just too
Yeah,
much fun, bro. Too much fun.
yeah.
They're hysterical. And remember, but Champ, I brought it up. You said PSP, you the man, because I forgot about that clip a long time ago.
Yeah, I did forget about that clip. Uh, I don't even think this is a track by him, but this is a moment from the Jamie Foxx show where he said "Big Toe." I can't believe when I was walking, I didn't see the coffee table in the middle of the floor. What in the world? So I'm not gonna lie. I take that one time and I play that damn tape to the bus. So don't step on my big toe, big toe.
So,
I know that's not a track, but still. Look, blame it on the alcohol.
yes.
They'll blame it on the look,
Unpredictable.
unpredictable. Hey, slow jams. Slow
Yes, he
jams. I know
says he
that's not
wants
his
some
song, but
Marvin Gaye,
so
Luther
Luther Vandross,
Vandross, a little Anita.
definitely set this party up
Party
right.
alright.
Uh, one of the hidden gems is Rain Man. You know, from his second album. I think everybody can relate to that when you going through a bad breakup. So listen to that song. DJ, can you playing this girl a love song? That was good. That second album, man, doing that era is that was a classic. That was a classic, man. And Jamie Foxx was look, man, Jamie Grammy Award winner, man, and there's a reason why he a multifaceted guy. His range, we talk about range. Range ain't the word when you describe a guy like Jamie Foxx, man. He he could literally do anything. He could sing, he could dance, he could entertain, he could make you laugh, he could be serious. I think Steam. I
He,
think,
ha- him, and Godfrey have the best Trump impersonations.
and not only that, the Stephen A. Smith impersonation when he had that
Cleveland A.
damn,
Smith.
Cleveland A. Smith?
yeah, that damn man unit on with the damn hairline all the way back here. You know, look like he with them old thick ass eyebrows. That is the funniest shit in the world right there. Man, love, love better now. Like I said, man, Jamie Foxx was one of the biggest. I mean, I think when you could do more than one thing, that's when your job, you make a lot of people's jobs a lot easier because so they can't put you in this typical archetype. They couldn't loop him in just comedy movies. They couldn't loop him in just action movies or thriller movies. He could do a little bit of everything, and he could sing. So, I mean, I never forget that when he was with Theo Mob, when he was talking, when he was singing the Georgia part, Georgia, never, never
Hmm.
forget that, man. I'll never forget that. He
Yeah.
played an Academy, I mean, a Grammy, Oscar Award winner, one of only six black men to only win. So, shout out to Michael B. Jordan, who recently won it. And Jamie did a lot of the features that he did was fire. So a lot
Gold
of
digger.
yeah. I ain't look, that Jamie had a run, man, where he had a run. And it never seemed to end. Whether he was on Def Comedy Jam, whether he had his own show, whether it was Booty Call, the movie, he had range for damn days. I mean, I never forget the movie with him and T.I. came in and they played in. I think one of the best movies, the most underrated movies that he played was Redemption. When he played the late great Tuka Williams. So
I love when he played Django. He was great in Django.
yeah, that was one of my favorite movies, by the way. But as far as Jamie, man, I think one of my main favorite tracks is "Blame It on the Alcohol." That was one of the best tracks ever, man.
BRF.
That whole unpredictable album was just fire from start to finish. Whether it was unpredictable, do what it do, I should be, love changes, extravaganza, DJ play a love song. That whole album was just fire. And then no, one of the funniest ones where he did the comedy special. I might need security, and he's playing on the piano. He's like, F you, oh F you, F you, and just went off for like 2-3 minutes.
Or you could just use the song he sang about Serena Williams.
Oh, the tennis ball. Oh yes,
Yes.
hilarious. Hell, oh my gosh, I laughed my butt off when he made the tennis ball song. That was great hosting the ESPY, and then just going off the Epsy that skit where he was the coach and he was making fun of Gary Payton. Oh, that was it. I was boy, the glove don't seem like it fitting too good nowadays. But but oh my god, he had bro. I remember that moment. He had Kevin Garnett crying, laughing. He had him crying, laughing. That jump was so funny. What else? Fall, yeah, of course, blaming on the alcohol, of course. Fall for Your Type with Drake, amazing song. And yeah, y'all, and yeah, most definitely the features as well. Like, oh man, come on. I mean, the features you always think about with him are Slow Jams and Gold Digger. Like, you come on, man. Those are like two songs that, like, when they came out, just basically just they took over everything. And of course, like with Gold Digger, the Ray Charles run, winning the Oscar for Best Actor, and then using the Ray Charles voice in the song was just like, bro, that to me set the song off more than anything. Using the Ray Charles voice in the song, that set that song off more than anything. But he what else did he have? He had a winner with Justin Timberlake. Gosh, what else? What else? Oh Lord, I'm trying to think about the songs because he just he is probably right now. He may go down as arguably the greatest two-way entertainer we might have ever seen. Like between like him and Will, man, like just it's icons, man. That's what they. That's. I'll say it, baby. That's black excellence right there, boy. You can't argue with that.
Can't argue with it. Fellas, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. Before we wrap up the show, hearts and prayers go to the family of Chuck Norris. Passed away. Chuck Norris died at the age of 86. Still shocking to me that he passed away. I mean, just a week, he just tweeted. I can't remember the tweet. Maybe Champ BRF can remember it, but
I elevate.
Well, he just turned 86. He just had his birthday, March 10th.
Yeah, and it's just shocking to me how he just passed. But again, man, definitely gonna be missed. I mean, Champ, I'll let you go because I know you have a lot to say regarding this.
Hey man, look here, man. Let's just set the record straight right now, man. Chuck Norris did not die. He became the new Grim Reaper. Let's just beep it all the way up. Chuck Norris became the new Grim Reaper. Or, the rapture just happened and he was the only one that made the cut. We all knew that behind Chuck Norris's beard was a fist. And when he did push up, he pushed down the earth. So, look, man, I remember the Chuck Norris jokes.
That was the one right there. He didn't do push-ups. He pushed the earth down. That was the one. That was the one. Oh gosh.
I never forget
when Chuck Norris was born. He did a round. The doctor did slap him. He roundhouse kicked the doctor.
Yeah. I never forget. We have a lot of dark humor in the Army. They said, Chuck Norris lost his virginity before his dad.
Oh my God!
The funny shit.
There are some good ones.
I never forget. They had the one. They was like, never forget me and my main man Josh. We came up with the one. Hey, Chuck Norris can take a apple from an apple tree and squeeze the best orange juice you ever had. It was like Chuck Norris once went to the Virgin Islands, not just the islands now. So it was hey, they said hey man, they said he walked home from the hospital he was born in. So, man, look. What I liked about Chuck Norris is he was so positive. He was just so damn positive. It was just, you never saw him in a bad light. Even his peers acknowledged him. I never forget Jean-Claude Van Damme, one of the good martial artists and one of the movie guys. I'll never forget what he said. That people always wonder who will win between me and Chuck Norris. He said, "I give you a hint right now." He said, "I'm a very fast runner." Now, Jean-Claude Van Damme said that. And even guys were making jokes. Remember when Steven Seagal became a cop?
Yeah.
Steven Seagal became a cop, and dude was on the road talking to Steven Seagal. He said, "You think he can beat Jean-Claude Van Damme?" He said, "Yeah, I think he can beat Jean-Claude Van Damme." He said, "What about Chuck Norris?" He said, "Hell no." So man, look, Chuck Norris, between fighting Bruce Lee, nearly beating Bruce Lee in a World Martial Arts Tournament, making the film with Bruce Lee, Way of the Dragon, all of the films that was in the 80s, the early 90s, Walker, Texas Ranger. People don't understand, man. Walker, Texas Ranger and WWE was the cornerstone of USA Network. I think, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but Walker, Texas Ranger and WWE, they were the cornerstones of the USA Network. I don't think any other show out-earned them. So, man, to Mr. Chuck Norris, man, thank you for making my childhood great. Thank you for making my adulthood great. And, man, really thank you for making my military career great, because guess what, man? We had more jokes. Hey, man, it was nothing like a good Chuck Norris joke to break the ice. You could really be walking into a unit and being as young as I was like 18 years old when I first joined the Army. You start telling Chuck Norris jokes, people instantly gravitated to you, man. It was crazy, man. It's just hard to believe. That's one thing. That's the sad part about getting older and getting grown, going into your late 30s, early 40s. You start realizing your heroes are leaving. So, and yeah, man. So, hey, I think one of the coldest lines he ever told somebody doing a movie, he said, "Man, I'm going to give you so many rights, you're going to beg for a lift." So that was some of the coldest lines that you ever want to see. And he never changed his expression. And I think he was the only one that could pull off in a comedy movie with a dog. In remember that movie Top Dog with him and Reno?
Yes.
I think he's the only person, action hero, that can pull off a movie with a little shaggy dog like that and was not a German Shepherd. And then the one scene in the movie, he beat the hell out of a warehouse full of men, and the only way they stopped him is the dude hit him in the back of the head with a pair of pliers. I mean, the scene lasted for like a good 20 minutes. He was beating the hell. It was like an army full of men. He was just beating the hell out of them. Finally, dude that got tired of him, hit him in the back of the head with a pair of pliers. Thank you, Chuck Norris, man. Hey, you retired the Grim Reaper. Now you're the new Grim Reaper, man. So we appreciate you, man. We appreciate you. Thanks for being a positive influence on a lot of our lives. So we thank you. Salute to Chuck Norris, man.
Salute, BRF. Is there anything you wanted to say before we wrap up the show?
Chuck Norris counted to infinity. Twice. But no, man. Chuck Norris is just one of those sidekicks. If you have not seen Sidekicks, go watch Sidekicks. It was like 93, 94. Him, the late Jonathan Brandis. Amazing movie. And then like all his action films, Delta Force, Missing in Action, just the man. The dude was he's a 6-time world kickboxing champion, and to be able to relate that into having a successful movie career and then turn it into one of the greatest action TV shows of all time in Walker, Texas Ranger. I mean, just salute. RIP, man. You're definitely one of the icons. Seeing him in the Expendable series kind of made it complete for me. Seeing him in the Expendables was just that was the cake for me because he was in the second one. So shout out to him. I mean, that for me in this day and age to see him in a movie like that was something special. But yeah, man, Chuck Norris, man, he's one of those ones. He's an icon. Shout out to him.
Absolutely. Gone but not forgotten. Fellas, that concludes the rest of the Sports PSP podcast. Before we wrap up the show, like I said, man, just if you're gonna have a good time, have a good time. Please drink responsibly. Please have a good time. Be around friends and family. A lot of things to look forward to. Wrestling, of course, sooner or later. WrestleMania is up around the corner. Enjoy the rest of March Madness. In about a month, we got the NFL draft. Can't wait to talk about the pigskin, of course. Can't wait to talk about the draft stuff. But we're going to keep on rolling with the Sports PSP pod. New episode next week, Friday, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. Please go check us out. Y'all enjoy the rest of y'all weekend. And we